Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to what is now the episode 7 tea party. We finished episode 7 in the last section, and we're going to be diving into these tea parties. Let's see how far we have to go. We've done well to make it this far. Have we enjoyed our stay on Rakanjima? It's been alright. I've kind of enjoyed the ending of the 7th chapter. I thought it was solid, and I think I have an idea of how the 8th chapter is going to go. I'm curious what the tea parties are going to do. They're going to lead us into 8. Presumably one of them, possibly the witch's tea party, will be the setup for 8. Which means I'm not sure what this tea party is going to be about. Well, let's find out. When I came to, all was silent. The room was dimly lit, and yet it was massive. Where on earth is this? I was sitting in what seemed to be a very short sofa. It was very constricting and looked like there were several more of them off to each side of me. We're back in the theater. Once I noticed that, I realized I was in a theater. Yeah. Where on earth am I? How's it going, Leon? I don't know how long I've been here. More importantly, I don't know where this is. Beatrice's funeral ended, everyone went back to the mansion, and, well... After that, my memory gets fuzzy. I can't recall anything else. What is with the white box? Then I was surprised to notice the presence of another person. Apparently I wasn't the only one sitting in the audience seating of the vast theater. The sound had come from a seat to the side of mine, and when I looked I saw a girl sitting several seats off to my left. NJ? It was a face I'd never seen before. Who is she? She looked like a high schooler or college student about the same age as I was. She groaned. Apparently she'd just woken up. I didn't want to scare her, so I decided to introduce myself first. Hello. Apparently she was equally surprised to find someone other than herself here. She jumped when she heard my greeting. Who the hell are you? I feel the same way. It seems neither of us is here of our own accord. The one-winged crest? Oh, you recognize this crest? She looked suspiciously at the one-winged crest emblazoned on my collar. Her stare, which was unmoving but not openly hostile, wasn't exactly pleasant for me. Allow me to introduce myself first. I am Ushiromiya Leon. Ushiromiya what? What? Leon. Written as Re something or other, pronounced as Leon. Yep. A strange name, don't you think? No stranger than mine. But I'll have to apologize. I don't know who you are. Hardly surprising, since I don't know you either. That's not what I meant. Who are you? There is no one like you in the Ushiromiya family. And why are you so certain? Did you have something to do with my family? Well, I am a member of the Ushiromiya family. But that's... She showed me her left sleeve and the crest with the one-winged eagle emblazoned on it. She was to his side, so you could guess that he couldn't see, because it was the opposite side. I regret having to ask the same question. Who are you? I've never seen you in the Ushiromiya family. First they tear me to bits, then they make me read. And what's next? Which am I entertaining this time? She spat out those words and seemed to be complaining about something. NJ. I'm Ushiromiya NJ. Rudolph and Kirie's daughter. What? NJ-chan? Yeah, we get some more NJ action. This is good, right? You're supposed to be 6 years old. I was 6 during the final year of the family conference on Rakanjima. Now I get it. So you're someone from the year 1986. I'm 18. And from the year 1998.
12年後の未来の
The NJ-chan of 12 years in the future? Yes, Leon.
納得してもらえて嬉しい
Well,
わ。
I'm glad you believe
で
it.
も申し訳ないことに、私にあなたの心当たり
But
がないの。
unfortunately, I don't have a clue who you
あ
are.
なたは誰？
Who are you?
親は？
Who are your parents?
父はクラウス。
My father's
母
Kraus.
は夏日です。
Natsuhi is my mother.
それはジェシカお姉ちゃんだわ。
That would make you Jessica, One-chan.
ジェシカは妹です。
Jessica's my little sister. Andrea's just like, what's going on?
ジェシカお姉ちゃんは一人っ子じゃなかったの？
Isn't Jessica One-chan an only child? By this point, I was starting to figure out the situation this NJ had come from. He probably came from the world where I woke as a witch, where the world where Leon doesn't exist.
説明するのは難しいですが、
It'll be difficult to explain, but think of it this way. The NJ of a different universe 12 years in the future? Yeah. Quite the leap.
あなたの知る世界と別の世界では、私も後ろ宮家の人間なんです。
In a world slightly different from the one you know, I'm also a member of the
あ
Ashiramiya
なたの
family.
世界での私は別の運命により別の人生を歩み、後ろ宮家の人間として生きてはいないのです。
In your world, a different fate leads me to walk a different path through life, so I don't live as an Ashiramiya family
あん
member.
た、魔女なの？
Are you a witch?
残念ながら普通の人間です。
Sorry to disappoint, I'm an
今
ordinary
の
human.
話は魔女のベルンカステルさんに教えられたことです。
What I just told you is something I heard from a witch called Berncastel-san. Oh boy.
ベルンカステル？
Berncastel.
あの青い長髪のネクラそうな顔した？
The one with the long blue hair and the gloomy face?
ええ、
Yes. He's like, oh, you've met.
多分そんな容姿だっ
It
たと思い
probably
ます。
fits her, I think.
つまり
In other words,
私はまた魔女の茶番に付き合わさ
I'm
れてる
getting
わ
forced
け
to
ね。
play along with another witch's farce. Well, at least Leon has no reason not to like these witches games. I mean, NJ got turned into hamburger. Leon's just, had some uncomfortable truths about an alternate reality version of himself told to him where he's like, "Wow, that sucks, but it doesn't concern me, so I don't give a fuck." All right. That's basically Leon's thing. He's just like, "Oh, okay, well, I don't really care. Moving on." Like, wow, some other version of me might have suffered. And NJ's like, yeah, these witch games are pure suffering.
ここは一体？
Where's this place?
私もさっき目を覚ましたばかりです。
I only woke up a second ago myself.
ここはどこでしょう？
I'm wondering the same thing.
劇場に見えるわ。
Looks like a
何
theater.
かを感激しろっての
Are
か
we
しら。
watching a play or something?
今はそういう気分ではありませ
I'm
んね。
not really in the mood
出
now.
口を探しましょう。
Let's look for an exit.
気づいてないの？
You haven't noticed?
これ。
Look.
あ、
Oh, these are
これは。
blank. I finally noticed. Both of my wrists and ankles had changed attached to them. Yep, no moving. As long as I sat there, I had enough slack I could move with about a little, but it looked like there wouldn't be nearly enough for me to get out of this place.
いつの間に
When did...
誰がこんなことを？
Who would do something like this?
魔女の駒に落ちたら
Once a witch has made you
永
your
遠
piece,
にあいつらのおもちゃよ。
you'll be their plaything forever.
逃げられない。
There's no way to escape. NJ crossed her legs, making the chains clank together. She realized no amount of struggling could have broken those chains. Getting panicky wouldn't accomplish anything. She must have had nerves of steel. NJ does in
魔
fact
女
have
の
nerves of
駒と
steel.
は
What do you mean, a witch's piece?
あいつらの下僕みたいなもんよ。
It's like being their
私
slave.
は取引したの。
I made a deal once.
家族に会いたい。あの日から連れ戻したいって。
I said I wanted to see my family to bring them back from that
魔
day.
女はその可能性を与える代わりに、私を魔女の駒としたわ。
In exchange for making that a possibility, that witch turned me into a witch's piece.
少なくとも、魔女は約束を
Eh,
守った
at
わ
least the
ね。
witch kept her promise.
お兄ちゃんに会うことだけはできたんだし。
I was able to see Oni-chan again.
バトラ君のこと？
You mean Bella-kun?
エンジェだと名乗ることもできなかったけどね。
I wasn't even able to tell him who I
そ
was.
して、そのささやかな時間と引き換えに、私は今もこうして、
And in
魔
exchange
女
for
のお
that
もちゃ
short
箱
bit
の
of
中から
time,
永
I'm
遠に抜け
trapped
出せない。
inside the witch's toy box for all eternity.
どうやら、
Looks
あん
like
た
you
もその
are
お仲間
as
のよう
well.
ね。何を契約したの？
Did she make some sort of contract?
私は何も。
Nothing of the sort.
何かを魔女に望んだんじゃないの？
Did you ever ask a witch to grant a wish for you?
何も
Never.
私という存在がどれだけ奇跡であるかを教えても
She
らいま
taught
し
me
た。
what a miracle my existence
それ
is.
だけです。
That's all.
いずれにせよ、
Yeah, this is the same
私たちは
NJ.
ここから逃れられない。
Either way, neither of us is getting out of here.
さあ、魔女たち、
Okay, witches.
今度はどんな余興を見せてくれるの？
What show do you have for us this time? Hopefully this round it's Leon suffering instead of NJ.
朗読の次は感激？
Have we moved from reading aloud to theater going?
今度は私が誰かの朗読を見るっていうの？
Am I watching someone else read aloud this time or
なら
what?
ば始めてちょうだい。
If that's it, start it up already.
私はとっくに退屈しているの。
Bored enough as is. Yeah, go for it. NJ yelled this to the pitch black stage. Her voice reverberated throughout the theater, but no one gave an answer. No, someone did. And that was also in a voice that rang out across the theater. However, the voice sounded theatrical, as though someone was announcing the start of a play.
あの日に何があったかって？
What happened on that day, you ask?
教えてなんてあげないわ。
I'm not telling.
へそでも噛んで死んじゃえば。
Wait, if only you just give up and die. Is this Eva Trice?
この声は
Whose voice was that?
あのババアよ。
That old
エ
hag.
ヴァおばさんの声だわ。
It's Aunt Eva's voice.
あの日に何があったかとは
What does she mean by what happened on that day?
1986年10月4日か
She's
ら
talking
5
about the
日
4th
の
and
2日
5th of October in the year
間
1986.
六軒島で最後の親族会議が行われた日のこと
The
よ。
day of the final family conference on Rockinjima.
今日ですね。
In other words, today? Today is October 4th, 1986. As a prelude to the family conference, Beatrice's funeral was held.
驚いたわ。
That's
あんたは
surprise.
1986年の10
You've
月
come
4日か
here
ら来
from
た
the
っていうの。
4th?
教えて、
Tell me.
一体この2日間に何があったの？
Tell me what happened during those 2 days. The answer she seeks is inside the cat box. All I can tell her about is my close call with a sad life. However, I doubt that explanation will satisfy her. And then a pillar of bright light pierced the stage. There stood a white shadow. The white dress was obviously Claire's. Of course, NJ didn't recognize her. She looked suspicious, apparently wondering who in the world this was. However, even I felt as though something was wrong. Didn't she settle all her regrets in that funeral a short while ago before being sent off into the next world? Why is Leon here? Is the real mystery. She stood all alone in the narrow beam of light in the center of the stage, and the expression on her face was lifeless. Is Leon here to facilitate information transfer to NJ? I'm curious why Leon's here, or is he there to be informed of the cruel fate that awaits him when time resumes? The light begins to grow brighter and brighter. It shone more and more fiercely on her until it became blinding just to look at her. Our world was enveloped in a light so bright we couldn't open our eyes. Surrounded by our sound like wind or television static, our minds began to go blank. Okay. Not too much to say about this. We've set a stage for an interesting tea party. Is this the pitch for chapter 8 then? Simply telling us a story at this point doesn't mean too much. Whew, alright.
今年も見事に咲いたもんや。
They're blooming wonderfully again this year.
これを手入れするのは大変だろうぜ。
It's be a real pain to take care of all
め
these.
でるだけの俺たちは楽なもんだ。
Easy for us though, just looking at them.
どうかね。手入れしてくれる人たちに感謝しなくちゃ。
We gotta thank the people who take care of them for us.
でもちょっと品がないのよね。
It is a bit lacking in grace.
兄さんが変に手を加える前の方が素敵だったわ。
I prefer the way it used to be before Nissan decided to pile on so much.
昔のも昔ので味わいがあってよかったわ
Did have
ね。
its own charm, didn't it?
マリアバラ好き。
Maria's like, I love roses.
トゲがなければもっと好き。
I'd like them even more if they didn't have thorns. What? You don't like rose thorns?
ひゃー懐かしいなこのバラ庭園
This rose garden really takes me back. So I'm suspicious because I was thinking the 8th chapter would be basically like a last iteration of the entire story that gives us the closure of the mysteries. But it seems like we might be starting the tea party with the same deal. I'm not really sure what we're doing here. It seems a little bit early to start a new arc. So maybe they're pitching something like, and they're going to fast forward a whole bunch to give us some information. Or maybe they're just doing the prelude to the first Twilight here. It would be a bit strange to start off in the 7th chapter Tea Party, the 8th story, but it's not something they haven't done before. Yeah, this is the episode 7 Tea Party, not the actual proper story. This Rose Garden really takes me back.
この6年ですっかり忘れてたぜ
I'd totally forgotten about it these last 6 years.
もうそんなになるんだね
I guess it really has been
こ
that
の
long.
バラ庭園もそしてバトラ君も本当に見違えたよ
Both you and this garden have changed so much.
紹介するよ
Let me introduce you.
使用人のカノン君
This is Canon-kun, one of our servants.
バトラとは初対面だよな
This is the first time you've met Battler, right?
はじめまして
Pleased to meet you.
俺のことはバトラって呼んでくれよな
You can just call me
よ
Battler.
ろしく頼むぜ
Nice to meet you.
今日はシャノンもいるぜ
Shannon's here today too.
一緒に遊んだの覚えてる
Remember when we used to play together?
ああシャノンちゃん
Shannon-chan.
すっかり忘れてたぜ懐かしいな
That really takes me
元
back.
気にしてるかい
How's she been doing?
この6年でますます綺麗になったよ
She's grown more and more beautiful these past 6
後で
years.
挨拶するといいよ
Should say hi to her later on.
シャノンはジョージお兄ちゃんと仲良しなの
Shannon and Giorgio and Ichan are really good friends.
マリアシ
Mine.
それは内緒な
Secret. Not a very well kept one.
それでは皆様、そろそろゲストハウスの方へご案内いたし
If
ま
you
す。
would. Everyone, allow me to guide you to the guest house. After enjoying the lovely welcome provided by the roses, the relatives followed Goda in the direction of the guest house. Interesting. I thought we met in the first arc. I thought we met Shannon here. Looks like she's not here because I think we met Shannon and then Cannon like spilled a wheelbarrow or something, and Battler went and picked up a bag to help him carry some stuff somewhere. If I recall correctly in the first arc. So I think they're retelling this and maybe giving us a new perspective. Or they're doing another iteration, because we've seen 2 or 3 of these already. October 4th, 1986, Rockenjima, in a world without Leon, on the day of the Yoshirimiya family conference. Oh, okay. Arya read a mysterious letter aloud after dinner, just as she had been told to. Okay, so we are fast-forwarding really quickly. The writer of the letter claimed to be the Golden Witch Beatrice and challenged the family. Try and solve the riddle of the epitaph, otherwise I'll take everything. Well, at least Mario read the letter this time. It was Beatrice's announcement of the game's start, the same as the usual games. Had an unknown person appeared, related to the problem with the inheritance's distribution? Where was the 20 billion yen worth of gold hidden? What was the purpose of this letter? For what goal had it been written? Who on earth is this Beatrice? It was the usual dinner on October 4th where several bits of suspicion and paranoia intertwined.
ジョージ君
George,
申し訳ないけどみんなと一緒にゲストハウス
sorry,
に
could
戻っ
you
て
go to
て
the
くれ
guest
る
house
か
for
し
the
ら
others?
ごめんね
My apologies.
シャノン
Yana,
子供たちをゲストハウスへ
take the children to the guest house.
私たちはこのまま親族会議に入り
We'll
ます
proceed straight on to the family conference.
はい
Yes,
かしこまりました
as you wish.
黄金の魔女
Beatrice, the
ベアトリー
Golden
チェ
Witch.
か味な手紙をよこしてくれるじゃない
A
か
fascinating letter you've sent us.
碑文を解いてみろですって
He tells us to solve the epitaph.
ふざけたこと
Ridiculous.
あの黄金は私たちのものよ
That gold belongs to us.
部外者なんかに譲ってたまるものですか
Why would we ever give it to an outsider?
あの黄金さえ見つかりゃ 俺たちは全員ハッピ
Well, if we could all just find the gold, we'd all be happy.
ー。誰も損がねえんだがね。
No one would have to lose anything.
行こう。
Except for the part where
みんな
Ava kills everyone for the gold, you know, that part. That part's a bit awkward. Let's go,
ここから
everyone.
は大人の話だよ。
They'll be having an adult conversation from here on out.
やれやれ。
Yada yada indeed.
ややこしそうな話だぜ。
Sounds like it's gonna get complicated.
ほらマリア
Come on,
行
Maria.
くぜ。
Let's go.
ベアとの儀式が始まったね。
Does ceremonies begun?
それでは皆様、ゲストハウスへご案内し
Alright,
ます。
everyone. I shall guide you to the guest house. Most of the adults seem murder happy for the gold. Yeah.
これは何でしょう。
What's all this about? I have the same question, Leon.
過去のゲームのいずれかの再演か。さもなくば、
Probably
新
a
しいゲーム
replay
で
of
しょう
one of the
ね。
old games, or else an entirely new game.
どのゲームであっても、10月4日はほとんど同じ展開だから。
In all the games, October 4th happens pretty much the same way.
新しいゲーム。
A new game?
これまでのかけらにない物語ということですか。
You mean a tale that hasn't appeared in any of the fragments so far?
私たちを鎖で縛り付けてまで見せたものが、すでに知ってるゲームなわけがない。
There's no way they'd go through the trouble of chaining us down if they wanted to show us a game we already knew.
新しいゲームだと考えるべきでしょ
So
う
it's
ね。
probably a new game. Thank you, NJ, for being intelligent.
ならば、ゲームマスターがいる
Means
は
there
ず。
should be a game
それは
master.
誰？
Who is it?
あいつ？
The
ベル
witch?
ンカステル。
Berncastel?
私にはそうとは
Don't
思いません。
imagine so.
クレルはもう消え去ったはずなんです。
Claire should have vanished
新しい
already.
物語を紡ぐ必要
There
性が
should
な
be
い
no
はず。
need to spin up a new tale.
ベアとのゲーム版なんて、とっくの昔に昭和る魔女どもに乗っ取られてるわ。
Beato's game board was hijacked by those evil witches a long time ago.
ベアとでさえ、あいつらのゲームのコマでしかない。
Even Beato is little more than a piece in their games.
一体これは何のつもりで誰の仕業なんです。
Who's behind this? What are they after?
私たちに何を見せたいんだ。
What do they want to show us? Before this tale began, Claire definitely appeared on the stage. She's the teller of the tale of Beatrice's game. Beatrice, the me from a world of a different fate. However, didn't she entrust everything to Will, who solved all the riddles? There should be no need for her to make new riddles. In that case, is Berncastel using this tale to test me? Along with Will, I have at least touched the deepest depths of this tale, and understood the culprit's heart. Even if an entirely new tale presents itself, I should be able to see through the riddles. Is that what my role is? Is my role to teach NJ the truth of this tale?
あなたは知ってい
You know?
るこの物語の真相を。
You know the truth of this tale?
いくつかの仮説は考えてるわ。
I have several
で
theories.
も、どの説にも最終的な答えは出せない。
Still, none of these give a conclusive answer.
真相はいつも猫箱の中。
The truth is always inside the cat box.
断定はできない。
I can say nothing for sure. In this world, NJ is absent on this day, so it's only natural she doesn't know what happened. However, at the very least, I do know who the culprit is and what they were trying to do on this day.
やっと
I
自
think
分の役目が分かった気がします。
I think I understand my role in this.
どういう意味？
What do you mean?
どうやらあなたは感激者で、私は解説者のようです。
Apparently you're here as a theater goer and I'm here as a commentator.
何を解説してくれるというの？
And as a commentator, what is it you're going to explain to me?
私はこれから起こる事件の犯人を知
After
ってい
all,
るからです。
I know who's behind the crime that's about to occur.
なんですって？
What did you say? Thinking about it straightforwardly.
何者かが私たちに碑文を解かす横取りを狙っているようにしか思えんがね。
The only explanation I see is that someone's trying to make us solve the epitaph, hoping to then snatch the gold for themselves.
同感だ。
I agree.
先に解いたなら猫ババしちまえばいいだけの話。
They already solved it, they could just take it.
わざわざ俺らに解いてみろなんて挑発するかってんだ。
There'd be no need for us to solve the riddle. I'm pretty sure he used different phrasing for the second sentence in that line in Japanese.
使用人の誰かのいたずらだわ。
The prank by one of the servants.
あわよく黄金が見つかったらご祝儀におこぼれがもらえるかもしれないってい
They
う
must be
さ
hoping
も
to pick up
し
the
い考
scraps
えに
from the
違いない
celebration
わ
if the
よ。
gold's found.
当家の使用人の中にそんな人間がいるとは思えません。
I can't imagine any of our servants would do it, such a thing.
あるいは使用人のふりをして私たちの中の誰かが差し出した手紙だったりして。
Maybe one of us sent the letter pretending to be a servant.
それを言ったら一番怪しいのはあんたでしょうが。
If that's it, you're the most suspicious one.
マリアちゃんに一芝居打たせてあの手紙を読ませたんじゃないの？
You schooled Maria-chan on her part and made her read the letter, didn't you?
私はそんなことしないわ
I
よ。
wouldn't do that.
予算かエヴァ
But arrest Ava.
決めつけたらあかんで
No jumping to conclusions. We can't
今
do
は
that.
みんなで結託して相談し合う時やないか
Isn't this just the time for us to stick together?
そうね。
Right.
あの怪しげな手紙は私たちの結束を乱すのが狙いでしょう
The
ね。
aim of this strange letter is probably to disrupt our unity.
踊らされれば踊らされるほどベアトリーチェなる差出
The
人の
more
思
we
う
let
つ
it
ぼだ
affect us, the more things go the way of this Beatrice who sent it.
キリエさんの言う通りだね。
Here sounds
あ
right.
のような手紙など初めから意に介さないくらいがちょうどいいのではないかね。
Wouldn't it be best to simply ignore a letter like that from the start?
私は最初からそうだと言っています。
And that is what I've been saying this whole time.
こんなの取るに足らないいたずらです。
Sort of prank is not worth considering.
そうやな全く
Exactly.
おかしなクレームの1件や2件でびくついてたら商いはやってられんで
A couple improbable claims of damages get you flustered, you'll never be able to sell anything.
主人の言う通りだわ。
My husband is
こ
great.
んな子供騙し真面目に考えるだけ損だわ。
It's a child's prank. Taking it seriously is a waste of
本
time.
当に遺産騒動に絡みたい何者かなら手紙なんて遠回しなことをせず堂々と姿を現せばいいんだし。
Someone really wanted to shake up the inheritance issue. They'd come forward boldly instead of using something this roundabout.
だな。
Okay. You got it
俺
there.
たち以外に遺産を要求している人間がいると思わせて、おこぼれに預かりたいってやつがいるんだろうぜ。
Someone probably wants to make us think there's another person trying to make demands about the inheritance when their real goal is just to pick up the scraps.
遺産問題に口を挟まない代わりに口止め料をよこせとか言い出すのかしら。
I wonder if they'll ask for hush money in exchange for staying out of the inheritance issue.
それを言い出すならもう手紙に書いてるはずだわ。
It's interesting that they're redoing this section in so much detail. Because people always say to reread the previous sections, but I feel like doing a section like this in-game is also perfectly fine because it reduces the need to actually go back and confirm what you think you're knowing, because they're basically using this as a review section. You're like, oh, these are all interesting motives, but they're all completely wrong because you already know the answer. So he's including... The writer is including this in the main story, so you don't need to go back and read the first couple chapters to see some of the hints. At least that's what my thought is here. I'm like, I'm reading this, but I don't think it's a bad... It's probably slightly different, but I don't think it's bad to be rereading this in depth at this point, because we already know how this goes, but this time we're effectively rewatching it with a new perspective, so there is some added value here. But it also means I don't understand why you'd want to immediately go back to the first arc and reread it after you finish this. It seems like it would be pointless. Other than to like look specifically for clues, but they're reminding they're reminding you what's going on, and this is your review section. It's like, okay, here's our revelations, here's the review of what the revelations were revealing about individual scenes. If that were the case, they should have written it into the letter.
手紙の内容は碑文を解いてみろ。さもなくは全てをいただく。
The
な
letter
る
is
挑
just a
戦状だけだ
challenge,。telling us to try solving the epitaph or hand over everything.
犯人はわしらに碑文の謎を解かせたい
The culprit's trying to make us solve the epitaph's riddle.
それ以上でも以下でもないっちゅうことやな
Nothing less.
つまりよ、
So it's simple.
こんな手紙気にしたら負けってことだぜ。
If we worry about the letter, we lose.
同感だ。
I agree.
まるで推理小説のようなミステリアスな演出だったので、ついつい私たちも面白がってしまった。
After a big mysterious show of something like... It's like something out of a mystery novel, we've all gotten a bit too wrapped up in this.
我々も余裕がないね。
Tim for taking this too seriously.
しかし
Who did?
誰がこんな手紙を。腹立たしいことです。
Such an aggravated thing to do.
使用人じゃないなら私たちの中の誰かが書いたんでしょうよ。
If it wasn't a servant, one of us must have written it. They don't use her fan over face sprite ever, if at all, do they? Is that new?
誰とは言わないけれどね。
I'm not naming names, of course.
よしてよ。
Stop it.
本当に私は知らないの。
I really know nothing about this.
まあま
Settle down.
あしかし手紙の言うことも一理あるっちゅうもんや。
Anyway, what this letter says does make a bit of
わ
sense.
しらは誰も彼も金が欲しいんや。
I mean, all of us need money.
それもできたら今すぐや。
If possible, we need it right away.
それに異論がある者はおらんやろ。
No one has objections to that, right?
そりゃそうだ。
Of course not.
金と愛はいくらあっても困らねえぜ。
Whether money nor love, you can never have too much.
親父殿の遺産はいつ転がり込んでくるかわからない。
We don't know when father's inheritance will come to us.
しかし、碑文の黄金は違う。
The gold of the epitaph, however, is different.
見つかれば直ちに山分けだ。
If we find it, we just split it then and there.
ある意味
In a sense.
お父様の遺産以上に目の前にある金だわ。
Even closer to us now than the inheritance
気
is.
分の謎が解ければの話だけど
Assuming
ね。
we solve the epitaph.
ここにいる皆さんも碑文の謎にはそれぞれ挑戦されたんでしょ？
Everyone here tried solving it on their own, yes? Curie asked the room at large, and everyone wordlessly nodded back.
ここには出題者であるお父さんの血を引く人間が4人もいながら、それぞれがバラバラに謎に挑戦してる。
We have 4 people who've inherited the blood of the one who made the riddle, and each tried solving it on
効
their own.
率的ではないと思わない？
That doesn't sound very efficient now, does it?
だな。
True.
俺たちはそれぞれが欲の皮を突っ張らせて
We've all been
単
greedy
独
and
に
tried
謎
going
解
it
きをして
alone.
た。しかしだ、
But
黄金発見時の分配等についてはもう俺たちの中で決着がついている。
we've already reached a decision on how we'll split the gold up if it's found,
そして兄貴が次期当主であることを認
and
める
about
ってのは
acknowledging Anarchy as the successor.
それを引き換えに随分とふっかけてくれたがね。
Though you demanded quite a lot in exchange.
私たちで協力して謎解きをしたら、あの碑文も解けるかしら。
I wonder if we can solve the epitaph if we pool our efforts and work together.
3人よれば
Waiting for
文殊の知恵。
2 heads are better than 1.
それどころか、
お父様の遺産問題については私たちは今日おおむねで合意を得ているわ。
Today we reached a general agreement about the inheritance problem.
余興のつもりで碑文に挑んでみるのもいいんじゃないかしら。
Why not take a shot at the epitaph for a bit of fun on the side?
せやな。
Nice idea.
一服のつもりでちょいとやってみるのも
Let's give it a try
ええ
and call
ん
it a
とちゃう
break.
か。
バカバカしい。隠し黄金などと。
Of course, there's no hidden gold.
まあまあ
Take it easy.
余興だと思って
Think
よ。
of it as a game.
ゴーダさんに冷たいもんでも持ってきてもらおうぜ。
Let's have Goda bring us something cool to
一
drink.
服しながらたまには兄弟水入らずで謎解きごっこをしてみようじゃね
And
え
I'll
か。
play riddles as a big happy bunch of siblings for
う
one.
ん、どうせ夜は長い。
Well, the night is long.
親父殿の寿命についてくだらない詮索をするよりよっぽど建設的だと思える
Be
ね。
more productive than pointless inquiries into father's health.
ゴーダさんに電話するわ。
I'll ring up Goda.
何か持ってきてもらい
He
ま
can
しょう
bring
よ
us。something.
お茶とお菓子と
Have tea and sweets.
あと台湾の地図でも持ってこさせる？
Oh, and a map of Taiwan. Wow, they're starting from a map of Taiwan. That's an easy place. That's a massive way to start. Only they actually had to figure out where the fuck they were looking. That'd be fucking nice. Alright. 2 shadows could be seen in the Rose Garden Arbor. It was George and Shannon's secret meeting. I know they knew, but I mean, it's never useful for the reader to not know. If everyone else knows, and it's like, wow, yeah, how on earth did you not solve this if you had this map already? Like, it should just be a little bit of effort to solve this shit. The biggest mystery. The biggest mystery is where the fuck his hometown is. If you already know where it is, you're like halfway to the solution. The biggest mystery. Where is his hometown? Alright, George and Shannon's secret meeting. Okay.
この指輪を
I want you to take this ring.
受け取ってほしい。
George
ジョ
said.
ージ様。
君を生涯愛することを誓
I swear to love you all my
う。
life.
若い今だけじゃない。
Not just now while we're young.
おいて、お墓に入るまでのすべてを愛し
I、swear to love you and keep you happy
君
until
を
we get
幸
old
せ
and
に
go
す
to
る
our
ことを
graves.
誓うよ。
その言葉に嘘偽りはありませんか？
Are there any lies or exaggerations in your words?
ああ、ないね。
Not a one.
僕には君を愛し、幸せな家庭を作る絶対の覚悟と自
I'm
信がある。
confident in my resolve to love you and build a happy household together with you.
その幸せな家庭とはどんなものですか？
What would this happy household be like? What kind of happy household would this be?
それはとても幸せな家庭だよ。
Well, it'll be full of happiness.
車
That's
と庭
bag.
付きの家。
We'll have a house, a car, and a yard. I guess he is rich. He is rich enough to afford those
そ
things.
して飼い
One
犬が
dog.
庭には家庭菜園。
The yard will have a vegetable
子
garden.
供たちが駆け回り、僕たちはバルコニーから
The kids will run around and we'll smile down on them from the balcony. They'll have a balcony in our house. Okay, it's a big
僕た
place.
ちの未来の日曜日の
That's what our typical
当たり前の
future
光景だよ。
Sunday will look like.
それは素敵な光景ですね。
That would be wonderful.
あの二人付き合ってるのかよ。
Those two are going out.
声が大きい
You're
って。
so damn loud.
マリアが起きちゃうだろ。
Mario, wake up.
そうか。
I see.
そうだったか。
So that's how it is.
言われてみれば、なんとなく今日もあの二人いい
I thought you
雰囲気
mentioned
だっ
it.
たしな。
They seem to have a pretty good mood going on there.
そうだよな。俺たちもも
Right, right.
う恋をする年頃だもんな。
We're about the age where you fall in love.
この6年で私たちは随分変わったぜ。
You've changed a lot in the last 6 years. I just noticed that her lower lip does not have any black outline on it. Huh.
ジョージ兄さんも昔は頼りない感じだったけど今は違う。
George Nissan used to be a bit unreliable, but he isn't anymore.
それは思ったぜ。
That's what I thought.
ジョージの兄貴、随分と貫禄が出てたもんな。
He's got that air of dignity thing going on. Battler has the same issue, but only at the very bottom of his lip. Still, Shannon Chan and George Anarchy, that's a bit unexpected. They played together often enough 6 years ago, but I didn't think they were that close.
なるほどな。
Well, 6 years is a long time.
この6年は誰にとっても大きいぜ。
These 6 years have been huge for all of us.
だな。俺もこの6年、いろいろあって、正直六軒島のことはほとんど忘れてた。
A lot happened to me these past 6 years, and to be honest, I forgot almost everything about Rockinjima.
まあ私もバトラーのことほとんど忘れかけてたけど
And
な。
I'd forgotten almost everything about you too, yeah.
そりゃひでえぜ。
Ah, that hurt. Talking together like this felt as though we'd been teleported 6 years into the past. 6 long years, so long. I forgot almost everything. And yet it's coming back to me bit by bit. Shannon Chan. 6 years ago, you were part of our group and we played together a lot, didn't we? Back then, I think I might have liked Shannon Chan. That was the age when we were all overly self-conscious, in love with love. Bittersweet memories of jokes involving melodramatic, flippant words.
懐かしいぜ。
That takes me back.
今だったらとても言えねえような恥ずかしいことをいっぱい言っちまったような。
I think I remember saying all kinds of stuff I'd be way too embarrassed to say now.
思い出しただけで赤面しちまうぜ。
Makes my face go red.
シャノンはそそっかしいけど記憶力はいいからな。
Shannon might be a scatterbrain, but her memory's incredible.
後でこっそり昔のバトラーの恥ずかしい黒歴史
Guess
を
I'll have
聞い
to
ちゃ
ask
お
her
う
all
と。
about your dark, embarrassing history.
よせやい。
Quit it, quit it.
6年経ってるぜ。さすがに時効だろ。
It was 6 years ago. The statute of limitations has to be up. I see. So Shannon's going out with George Anarchy. What am I thinking? Could this be jealousy? I didn't really think about it until now, but that thing Shannon and I had back then was probably my first love. Not like I have any right to be jealous after forgetting the whole thing until we met again. How is it love if you completely forgot it for 6 years anyway? Like, you literally forgot it the day the day you parted from the person. As expect, like it wasn't even like a sudden parting or anything. You just like walked away because you were going home and you never thought about it again. It doesn't really feel like you're in love with someone to me, but okay. But I suppose people have different definitions of what love is. Sure, so sure, go for it.
親父の故郷が台湾大正町であることは誰もが知る事実だ。
Everyone knows that Dad's hometown was Taisho in Taiwan.
親父殿は今も時折台湾を懐かしんで槟榔を噛んでいるよ。
He still chews Archaea nuts from time to time in memory of that place.
若い日にタバコの代わりに覚えたらしい。
Apparently, he got hooked on that instead of smoking when he was young.
でも鮎が泳ぐ川なんていくらでもあったと思うわ。
There must be several rivers there with sweet fish swimming in them.
鮎釣りの有名な渓流などいくらでもある。
It has several mountain streams that are famous for sweet fish fishing spots.
鮎なんて水さえきれいならどこにだって住んでたでしょうよ。
You could probably find sweet fish living anywhere the water was
お
clean.
手上げだわ。
We're completely stuck. Wow, that was 2 seconds.
お父さんが子供の頃に遊んだ近所の小川かなんかとちゃうか。
Maybe it was some nearby creek Father played in as a kid.
あゆっちゅうとるが案外船程度のことかもしれんで。
He said sweet fish, but maybe we're looking for something more like carp?
あるいは何かの比喩かもしれないわ。
Could be some sort of metaphor.
川が水の流れる川とは限らないかも。
The river isn't necessarily a river with water flowing through it.
水の流れない川とは
What do you mean by that?
さあね。
Well,
何
now,
のことやら。
who knows?
キリエが言うのも一理ある。
Yurie has a
故
point.
郷を台湾と決めつけるのも、鮎の川が水の流れる川と決めつけるのも。
Isn't it a bit too early to be sure that Taiwan is this homeland? Or that the Sweetfish River is a river with water flowing through it?
そう言われちゃお手上げやで。
Happy New Year, my friend. If we look at it that way, we're just stuck again.
ほら考えれば考えるほどに難解な謎謎や。
The more you think about the riddle, the harder it gets. We're just in the tea party. We haven't even gotten that far.
そうよ。これはきっと謎謎なのよ。キリエさんの言う通りだわ。
Yurie-san's right.
頭を柔らかくして考えるべきなのよ。
We need to be flexible in our thinking.
大正町に近い川っていうと淡水河かしら。
If we're looking for a river near Taisho, that would be the Danshui River.
あんた、話聞いてるの？水の流れる川とは限らないって話をしてんでしょうが。
Just said it might be the kind of river with water flowing down it.
その川が鮎の川だって保証はあるの？
Is there any proof this river is the Sweetfish River?
そうよね。
You're right, I'm
ご
sorry.
めんなさい。
まあ多分鮎も泳いでたろうぜ。
Well, it probably did have sweetfish
何
in
し
it.
ろ淡水の川だってんだ。
After all, Danshui does mean fresh
淡
water.
水魚の鮎が泳いでても不思議はねえだろうぜ。
It makes sense that a freshwater fish like sweetfish will be swimming in it.
鮎は淡水魚。
Sweetfish are freshwater fish.
鮎の川で淡水の川。
A sweetfish river would be a freshwater river.
それで淡水河かね。
Is that how we get Danshui? Quite the word game.
言葉遊びだな。
面白い説じゃない。
Now that's an interesting
もう
theory.
少し推理を進めてみま
Let's
しょう。
advance our reasoning a bit further.
川を下れば里あり。
As you travel down the river, you'll see a
淡
village.
水河の河口には何て町があるの？
What's the name of the town at the mouth of the Danshui River?
淡水と書いてあります。
It says Danshui here.
淡水は観光で行ったわ。
I went sightseeing in Danshui.
落ち着いた港町よ。
It's a calm and gentle harbor
夕
town.
焼けが綺麗だったわ。
Beautiful sunsets.
その里にて二人が口にした岸ってのはあったか？
Did you find the shore the two will tell you of?
さあね。
Not really.
心当たりなんてないわ。
Doesn't ring any bells.
やっぱり懐かしき故郷というのは
I guess the
台湾
beloved
のことじゃ
hometown
ない
wasn't
の
in
よ。
Taiwan.
やっぱり小田原なのかもしれないわ。
Might have been Odawara after all.
すべての可能性を否定するべきではないとすると、やはりこれはお手上げだね。
If we can't discount any possibilities, we won't get anywhere.
私たちには碑文の一行目からす
Can't
ら
even get past the first line of
話
the
がまと
epitaph.
もに進みやしない。
静かにして気が散る。
Quiet, you're distracting me.
絶対に台湾よ。
It has to be Taiwan.
お父様が台湾以外を懐かしいと形容するわけがない。
Father wouldn't describe any other place as beloved.
それについてだけは私も同感です。
Yeah, Rosa. Kinzo hates Odawara, but maybe Rosa is less aware of the fact that Kinzo hates Odawara because she's like 10 years younger than Rudolph. Like, she's super young. So maybe he did less ranting about Odawara, or she was less aware of how much he hated the place. Because she, like, grew up at the mansion instead of in Odawara. It's one thing we can all agree
お
upon.
父様にとって今でも台湾は心のふるさとな
To
の
this
です
very
から。
day, Taiwan's the homeland of father's heart. Are you sure, Natsuhi? Because, honestly, I would say it's not very clear to me that he actually likes Taiwan at all, because he doesn't refer to anything Chinese. He's always obsessed with Western movies. He's obsessed with Western movies, cowboys, guns. He's big into his Italian girlfriend, Beatrice. But what does he actually like apart from Archaea nuts? He likes those drug nuts from Taiwan, yeah.
一行目ばかりに固執するのも良くないわよね。
But the homeland of his heart may as well be America. It's probably best if we don't spend too much time on the first line.
私は他の行について検討してみるわ。
I'm looking forward to the others.
第一の晩からをちょっと見てみることにする。
A quick peek starting at the first twilight.
俺もそうするぜ。
Me too. Me
鮎
too.
の皮は姉貴に任せて、その先を検討してみよう。
I leave the sweet fish over to you, Aniki. Have a go at the second half.
第一の晩に鍵の選び師6人を生贄に捧げよ。
On the first twilight, offer the 6 chosen by the key as sacrifices.
ミステリアスね。
How mysterious.
わかった。
I got it. Ava suddenly muttered. All the others spun around to look at her. Ava was flipping through pages about Taiwan with incredible force, and then found the page she was looking for and slammed the book open so hard it almost tore. The whole time the book had been open to the page with place names. As far as the overall mass of information went, it seemed the most useful page to start from. However, the page Ava opened to was limited in the scope of its information. It was a map of railway lines.
川を下れば里
As you travel down the river, there's a village. A village.
里だわ。あった。
There it is, the village.
No.
What are you talking about, Ava?
何の話だね、エヴァ。
So they solved this in 15 minutes. 15 minutes from knowing about the location. That doesn't even sound very difficult. As far as riddles go, the seed for them solving this riddle is literally 15 minutes of them going, yeah, his hometown's in Taiwan, I'm sure. Like me and Atlas. It may not be a river. There might be a metaphor in this riddle somewhere. Oh, okay, we're done. I feel like it's kind of insulting to not know that. If it's that easy. Alright. Well.
説明したまえ。
What are you talking about, Ava? Explain yourself. So it took them like 10 minutes. 10 minutes to solve the riddle. They just sat down and were like, So it's in Taiwan. Yep, everyone knows that. Oh, did no one ever bother looking at Taiwan? Okay. Anyone ever consider a metaphor? Yeah, it could be a metaphor. Oh, I'm gonna look at a map. Ah, solved it. Alright, done. Took like 10 seconds. 10 seconds. Hard riddle, guys. What are you talking about, Ava? Explain it. The hardest part is beloved hometown. She's already solved it.
静かにして。
Quiet.
岸もある。口もある。
There's a shore. There's a mouth.
二人が口にするというのはわからないけど。
I don't know what it means by the two, but there's definitely a village and a shore and a mouth.
岸も口もある。ここよ。
Has to be it.
絶対にこれが黄金の鍵の眠る里よ。
It's definitely the village where the key to the gold sleeps.
落ち着くんや。
Calm down.
どういうことか、わしらにも分かるように説明してや。
淡水線
Donshvi
な
line?
るほど。
I see.
鮎の川というのは
Sweetfish
淡
River
水
was
線と
actually
い
a
う名の
railroad called the
鉄道
Donshvi
のこ
line.
とだと
鮎は泳いでい
Doubt
ないと
there's
思
any
います
sweetfish
が。
swimming there.
見て。
Look.
淡水線を下り方向に進んでいくと 旧名がキリガンって駅がある。
If we follow the Donshui line down, there's a station that used to be known as Kirigan.
ほら、漢字をよ
Look
く
at the
見て。
characters written in it.
里がある、口がある、岸がある。
There's a village, a mouth, and a shore.
ほんまや。
She's right.
里がある。口もある。
Village, a mouth, a shore.
岸もあるで。
Sayo Yasuda had to research for months? Yes. And they are taking less than 10 minutes to solve this puzzle.
川を下れば
As you travel
やが
down
て
the river, you
里は
see a village.
確かに淡水線の駅名の中で
It's the only station on the
里がつく
Donshui
のは
line that has the character
そ
for
の駅だ
village
け
in
だ。
its
な
name.
るほど。その駅名を暗示
Like
して
a
いるよう
code
に
pointing
も
towards
見え
the
る。
station's name. A little bit of cleverness resolves the month Sayo had to research for this. Just being a little bit clever. Solve it. Which also makes it like really annoying because the key part is the location of the town. So I'm okay with Sayo spending months researching this because apparently very difficult to figure out and read all the places it could possibly be. And you have to figure it out. I'm less okay with it being like a 2-second riddle that's 100% resolved by the... I mean, that Sayo's thing was also previously solved by the location of this hometown, but this is getting a little bit annoying where they're just like, ah, yes, if you know the riddle, like you could literally solve it in 10 minutes. And I'm like, if you know the hometown, you can solve in 10 minutes. I'm like, my assumption is the man's obsessed with Western stuff, so I have to guess like half the fucking East Coast. I have to guess like half of the United States and every English-speaking country, for all I know. And possibly Italy. It's like every country that speaks English and Italy. And like it's like the US, Italy, like that's a lot of cities. But if we can go to Taiwan magically, it's like kind of if we go to Taiwan and know the exact city, it's magically like the easiest shit on the planet, which kind of makes the whole riddle insulting for the viewer, because there's no way you solve it without knowing Taiwan and the city immediately. It's easy if you already know that. Alright, well, moving on. Like a code pointing to the station's name.
絶対に
Has
こ
to be
れ
it,
よ。
there's no
町
doubt.
調べればいいのよ。
We need to look a bit further what we find to speak of. Yep, look, this is it.
地名のキリ
Region
ガ
on
ン
the
の
station
理
of
は
the
と
same
いう
name,
こと
except
は
it's the second character. This makes it totally two
キリガン
Mets and Kirigan, the one who speaks.
二
Yep,
人が
okay.
口に
Incredible Nason, it has to be it.
この
Just
キ
mean the
リガン
kids
という
keep
町
sitting
のど
somewhere
こ
in this
か
town of
に
Kirigan. I wish they'd shut the fuck up. I wonder. This whole riddle has been so far been a word game. Isn't it likely the sleeping key is also a word game?
どうか
I
な
agree.
第
On
一
the
の
first Twilight, the key selects 6 sacrifices,
鍵は
right?
つまり
It's hard to imagine it's actually
本
something
当
key
に鍵
shaped.
状の形
Woo!
面
This
白
is
く
getting damn interesting.
なってきやが
鍵の選びし
Offer
6
up to the
人
six
を
chosen
こ
by
れ
the
から
key.
連想で
Think
き
of
る
a
鍵
key
を
that's
考
somehow
え
related
る
to
そし
this.
てそれでキリガンという地名を噛み砕くのよ。
And let's break down the name Kirigan.
私にはわかるわ。これはきっ
Rapid
と言葉遊び
rapid development and not destroyed in World War II? You mean like every single city in the United States? Okay, moving on. That's like the whole military industrial complex theory where like, oh yeah, they have the World War and then suddenly they have this massive economical boom that helps everyone. That helps like every single person in the country. That's why the United States is like the biggest country in the world. So like he could easily be from the United States because he's obsessed with Westerns, but somehow it's Taiwan. Like are Westerns huge in Taiwan? I don't fucking get it, but whatever. I don't actually like reading this scene because it's just like super insulting to the viewer. They're like, well, if you knew it was Taiwan, if you knew it was exactly the city in Taiwan, which makes no sense because there's nothing referencing China except for these random archaea nuts one time, which also grow in Japan. So fuck you. They're also growing like Japan and Korea and like half of China. Fuck you. And the man's obsessed with Westerns, but it's apparently Taiwan. Like, okay, sure. Just guess a random country. Sure, go for it. Whatever. Alright. Yeah, there's no hints for Taiwan before we're straight up told about Taiwan. It's really annoying. And I don't like reading this scene because it's just fucking insulting to the viewer. They're just like, wow, look at how easy it is. If only you like magically knew this. And you're like, yeah, okay, thanks, game. Like, okay, cool. It's showing how easy it is if you just automatically know his hometown name. It could have easily been like 2 cities over and you would have been fucked. And none of this would have worked, but you don't know that.
絶対に言
Alright, it
葉
has to
遊び
be.
よ。考えてみ
Think
んな。
everyone. How do people solve it? Because when 50 million people on the internet decide to go look at something, they can literally brute force anything on the planet. Like if you are not aware, like 30,000 people looking up random cities will statistically probably find what they're looking for. That's interesting. Like whenever you're like, how did someone solve this? It's like, you can literally get like 500 people obsessed with one problem to solve something by brute force all the time on the internet. That's what happens. It's like if you're willing to divide up an entire country and have every single person check the name of every single rail station in a country, that's not very difficult. It's difficult if it's one person and it's really stupid, but it's like really easy if you're like, okay, you're gonna check half of Korea. It's gonna take you 3 weeks. It's gonna take you 3 days. You're gonna check all of Korea and you're gonna check all of Japan and you're gonna check all of this, and we'll figure this out if it's in this section. And you can just do that for like, if you have enough manpower, you can do anything. Anyway, sure. The room would get me down if it was nice and cool. You're by my side, sure. Go time for us to head back. I'm keeping Kaneki waiting. Right. I'll probably keep Jessica Battler waiting.
懐かしいお嬢様にジョージ様、バトラ様に私で
Brings back good memories. Remember when the four of us used to play together? I'm not spending 400 hours looking up every single country in the modern world's rail lines. It was a lot of fun back then. Me, it's a lot more fun now. I get you all to myself.
ジョージ様ったら
Oh, George-sama. Because you know what I do instead of wasting 400 hours of my time? I just fucking Google the answer because it's already been found and posted on the internet. So maybe doing like 20 minutes of research might be fun, but it's not really enjoyable to be doing research people have already done. And that's going to take me literal hundreds of hours that no one's willing to help me with because everyone's already done it. They laughed at George's melodramatic line. However, George's laugh seems slightly forced. George?
Ah, 僕はね、未だにバトラ君にコンプレックスがあるんだよ。
I just have a bit of an inferiority complex when it comes to Battler
コ
Kun.
ンプレックス
A complex?
彼はルドルフおじさんに似て快活だし面白いし。
Like Uncle Rudolph, he's lively, interesting, and full of energy.
なんかより
He's much more attractive
彼
than
と
I am.
僕が並ぶと
I can tell how much he outshines me when we're together.
そんなことジョージ
Not
様
true.
は立派です
You're
し
accomplished and
バトラ
attractive.
様
You
に
aren't worse than Battler in
何
any
も
way.
劣るところなどありません。
本当に
Really?
ええ、本当にです。
実はね、今
Truth
年
is,
バトラ君が戻ってくると聞いて
when I first heard Battler Kun be coming back this year, I wasn't happy about it.
いや
どうしてですか
Why not?
6年前
6
君
years
と本
ago,
当に仲
Battler
が良
Kun's
か
the
っ
one
た
who's
の
really
は
close to you.
僕は君ともっと仲良くなりたいと思っていたけれど
I wanted to get close to you, but I couldn't
全
manage to
く
get
間に割り込
between
む
the
こ
two
と
of
に
you.
指を加えて見ているほかないくら
You
い
two looked so good together, I could do nothing but watch on longingly.
そうだったでしょうか。
Is that how it
お
was?
似合いの二人どころか
Wasn't it just Battler making
私
fun of
が
me?
一方的にバトラ様にからかわれてただけで
最高にお似合いの2人だった
Of course, you
よ
look incredibly good
間
together.
違いなくね
There's no doubt about
君
it.
たちは付き合っているに違いないと信じてた
I'm sure you two were going
そ
out.
んなことはあります
It
ジ
never
ョージ
happened.
様の考
You're
えすぎで
overthinking
す
it.
僕は本当にみっともない
I'm
ね
really
今
pathetic.
日君に指輪を渡すとき断られるかもしれないと
I was afraid when I handed you this ring today, you'd refuse.
どうしてですか
Why is that?
私がジョージさんの指輪をどうして
Why should I
拒む
refuse
と
your ring, George?
バトラ君が帰ってきたからさ
Because
君
Battler
は
Kun came
本当
back.
は今でもバトラ君のことが好きで
There's no way to check if you're right before the answer is revealed because the last part is about manipulating a physical mechanism on the island. No, I think that part's fine, actually. I think that part's fine. I think if you're able to do like the first half and come to a conclusion that follows enough of the hints, you probably have an idea of whether or not you're right or not. That part's difficult, but like if you're at like step 7 and you have steps 1 through 6 solved, you have an idea of whether or not you're right or not because the last 5 steps were in line. Even if you're on the wrong track and maybe there's another place that meets those criteria based on some stretching, it's kind of okay to at least have an idea of if you're right or not already. You don't need to have like the whole thing done, even if it's a physical mechanism on the island. Because if you were to say reach the point where you like know if you know that you know the words like probably quadrillion, if you know where you know the words quadrillion you need to manipulate, then you're like done. You're like done anyway. It doesn't matter that you don't know like which keys to turn or whether or not you can physically manipulate back. Like who cares about that? That last bit you're good. And they even kind of tell you that like you're supposed to be doing some wordplay with that once you're done. Like there has to be a key to the location of the stuff anyway. that part's fine. If you have like if you can get like the first 5, then it's like good enough. Alright, Battler came back. I was afraid you might like Battler-kun even now.
彼が帰ってきた今、僕は用済みなんじゃないかなっ
That
て。
because he's here, you wouldn't have any use for me?
ジョージさん、これをご覧く
George, please look
だ
at
さい。
this.
私の薬指に輝くこの銀色の
Do you
輝
see
きで
this
す。
silver glint on my ring finger?
これは何ですか？
What do you think this is?
そうだよね。
Right.
ごめん。
Sorry.
僕は何を動揺しているん
It's
だ
got
ろう
me
ね。
so shaken, I wonder.
6年ぶりの再会で、さら
I'm
にかっこ
probably
よくな
still
った
jealous
彼
of
に
him now that he's gotten even
また嫉妬
cooler
して
these
いたんだ
past
ろうね。
6 years. What's with the people in this family and incest?
情けないよ。
How pathetic.
ううん、いいんです。
Okay.
その気持ちはすなわち、私を誰にも渡したくないというジョージさんの強い気持ちの表れなんですから。
Those feelings are a sign your love for me is so strong you don't want to give me up to anyone.
もし私の気持ちがバトラ様に移るのではないかと怯えるなら、
You're worried about my feelings switching to battle or
そ
something?
んなことを絶対に思わせないくらい
Just
に
love me all the stronger, so that such a thing would be
強く愛
unthinkable.
してください。
I just assumed that it had something to do with that writing and the, I assumed that it was something to do with that line of a quadrillion because it was fucking abandoned and banned to be there for anyone. I was like, okay, this place is too important to be irrelevant to all the stories. So the secret entrance is there and it probably has something to do with that. That's an easy guess, but how it connects is a piece that's not particularly useful. Like, I wasn't entirely surprised that the building was open. The building and the key was there for like the quadrillion stuff. That was cool. I was like, oh, so that's how they open it. All right, that's fair. And I knew that like the second we were going to the church, it's the second that we got the answer of what the word was, we were going to the church to open it up. But that doesn't help with the first step. It just tells you you know where the door is. My feelings switching to Battler Sama, love me out stronger, so such a thing would be unthinkable.
私が
Hmm.
あなた以外の男性のことを考える暇なんかないくらいに
Love me
愛
so
して
much,
ください。
I don't have time to think about other men.
私だって怖いんです。
I'm scared too.
私より魅力的な女性なんてこれからもいくらでも現れるでしょう。
I'm sure you'll meet many women in the future who are much more attractive than me. And I'm just sitting here thinking, Kinzo is into sleeping with his own daughter. Shannon's into sleeping with, what is this? Like her nephew. I think she's pretty safe. I'm thinking her real rivals are Maria and Jessica.
あるいは至らぬ私に愛想を尽かすこともあるかもしれない。
Or you might tire of me when I don't match up to your expectations.
生涯あなたの気持ちを私だけにつなぎ止めていられるか怖いんです。
As Claire said, once you get to the part where you need the chapel, you'd figure out that's where the device is. Until then, fucked if you'd know. Yes. Yes. I think for the reader, like the person who's actually reading the visual novel, I think that's perfectly fair to have that be the location though. Because not only can you intuitively guess really easily that this supposedly important but completely unused location is extremely relevant for the epitaph. Because you're like, well, there's nothing else happening here, but it's apparently super important. Like, the obvious flag is like, you gotta do something with this. So you, the reader, can kind of guess that. So I mean, obviously it's unfair for like some random person being given the epitaph in the void of the internet, or, you know, in the 80s, all the way in New York, who has no clue about Rakanjima Island and is just given a random ass puzzle. But like for someone who's on the island or is aware of like the locations on the island, you're probably set. Scares me to think that I might not be able to grasp hold of your feelings for the rest of my life.
それを 君が怯える必要はないよ。
There's no need for you to be scared of that.
僕は君を生涯
I swear
愛
to
し
love
抜く
you
こ
all
と
my
を
life.
誓う。
私もそれを誓ったのに、バトラ様が帰ってきたら、信じてくれなくなりましたね。
And yet, even though I swore the same thing, you're having trouble believing it because Battler-sama came back? As Shannon giggled, George finally realized his own lack of confidence had hurt her.
私は、後宮ジョージさんという素敵な方を射止めま
I've
した。
fallen for this wonderful man named Ushiramiya George.
そして生涯、私を愛すると誓わせ、それを誓う指輪をこうして贈らせました。
As the man who swore to love me all his life, who's given me a ring as a sign of his oath.
その指輪をこうして薬指に通した上で正直に告
With
白
this
しま
ring
す。
here on my ring finger, I can give an honest confession? Sure.
私は
As you said.
確かにおっしゃる通り、6年前、バトラ様のことが好きでした。
I did like Battler-sama 6 years
多
ago.
分、ジョージさんより好きだったと思います。
I think I probably liked him more than you.
でも、
However,
それは6年前の話です。
it was 6 years ago.
今の話ではありません。
And now things are
バ
different.
トラ様へのその気持ちは、この6年間で整理され、思い出と一緒に過去へ決別したのです。
In these 6 years, I've sorted out my feelings for Battler-sama and cut myself off from them along with the memories of the
今の
past.
私は、
Now,
あなたを愛するためだけに存在します。
I only exist to love you. Shannon spoke clearly and strongly. George gave a single uncertain laugh. It was probably the same sort of laugh the George of 6 years ago had made. Then he stretched resolutely and hugged Shannon without saying a word. In that moment, he said goodbye to the person he'd been 6 years ago. 6 years ago? Not really. 6 years ago, they were literally children. George was 18 6 years ago. George is 24 right now. But yes, you could say they were children because I think Shannon's 13 6 years ago. She's like 19, I think. I think she's 19. Yeah, Shannon's 19 right now though. So that was a while ago.
橋を持っ
13.
てきたで。
But for George, he's still like basically an adult.
ほいっさ、ほい
I
っ
got the
さ。
ladder. Here we go.
クワドリリオン。こ
Quadrillion.
の島で船長と刻まれているのはあれだ
The
け。
only place you'll find the number written on this island.
K の10分の1で船長とはね。
1/10 of 10 quadrillion. How suspicious.
私たちの想像が正しければ、きっとあのレリーフの文字
For
が仕掛け
ideas,
られ
right? There should be some sort of device embedded in that relief.
確かめればわかる話だ。
We just need to
誰
check.
が上がる？
Who's going up?
俺が上がろう。
I'll
押さえ
go.
ててくれ。
Hold the ladder, alright?
気をつけて。
Careful.
結構高いですよ。
It's fairly high up. Rudolph climbed the propped up ladder, step by step as the rain poured down on him.
Q の文字を見てみて。
Look at the Q.
どう？
Anything?
何か仕掛けがありそう？
A device?
ちょいとガタつくな。
Ladder's shaky. Yeah, Rudolph is the dedicated ladder climber.
やべ。
Oh boy.
どうしたの？何
What
が
is it?
あったの？
Did something happen? Is he gonna say bingo? I'll say it for you, bingo.
見ろよこいつを。
Take a look at this. Rudolph tossed the cue down. It hit Kraus on the shoulder and landed in a puddle.
これ鍵だわ。
You may have noted it, but I sorted out my feelings for Battler-sama and cut myself off from them along with the memories of the past. Now I exist only to love you. Sure is a mess of a lot of meetings. That is a lot of things. That is a lot of things going on in there. But it's the things that we also saw very recently, so I think most people would get them because that was literally the entire narrative of Chapter 7 was was Shannon's feelings. So, and I think I've said that several times. So when she says that, I'm like, yeah, okay. It's not like a revelation to me. It's like, okay, I exist, I love you. Yeah, sure, okay. You cut yourself off from your feelings with Battler-sama. Yeah, you separated yourself into a second personality or whatever. The personality of Beatrice, and you're kind of just refusing to acknowledge them. That's all good. Just go for it. Drops the keys and kills her and killing them all. Yeah. No one's dead yet. No one's also tried to kill Rudolph yet. Slightly disappointed. This is the key. What does it mean? Rudolph-kun? Don't tell me you can take out the other letters too.
Ah, so
looks like it. My theory wasn't far off after all. What's next to take out?
I です。
I.
それから L。
Then L. Why do they take out... I'm so confused why they take out the right L. I'm so confused. They both take out the right L. Why? Why? It doesn't even make sense. Like, alright, we're taking these out in order. Ah, there's two of them. Which one do we take out? Naturally, the last one. What? It's... Yeah, they want to drag it out more, maybe, but it's just funny because both Shannon and Rudolph, when they're like, all right, we're removing things left from right. Okay, remove the Q. What's next? I. Okay, takes out the left eye. All right, takes out the first eye. L. I'll do the right one. Why? You're going left to right. It makes no sense. Like, you're reading these left to right, taking them out as you go, and then you randomly decide to take out the right one instead of the left one. Alright, so following her instructions, he removed the first 6 letters of the first Twilight. Now that they'd gotten this far, nothing stood in the way of them solving the riddle. By trial and error, they finally reached the final stage. Okay, nope, there we go, we fast forwarded. They didn't even give us like 10 minutes of discussing. It says to gouge starting from the head, which must mean going from left to right. I think it would be funny if they started from right to left. If one of them screwed up and went to right to left, that would make sense because they have like this weird interest in going right to left all the time, but it doesn't really matter. It's just kind of funny that they both did the same thing. Maybe he didn't want to... Maybe he did that because he wanted to reuse the graphics. Let's think of a more practical reason. Because they didn't actually have any discussion. They skipped the entire discussion scene, and they just removed it and moved on. So maybe they had this graphic prepared for Shannon's epitaph scene, and they're like, there's no reason to make an opposite L. Or there's no reason to like write it differently, so we'll just have it fast forward.
Rudolph-san.
Rudolph-san?
左から順に鍵を回してから抜くの。
Starting from the left, turn the keys before taking them out.
Oh, yo.
Got it. Now we've massacred all the letters. You reached the 9th Twilight and none are left alive.
どう？
So?
何か起こった？
Something happened?
何かの手応えはあったが変化なしだ。
Something clicked, it felt, but nothing
どっ
changed.
かで隠し扉でも開いたのかもな。
A hidden door? Did a hidden door open up somewhere?
お、おい、あれを見てみ。
Look at that.
動いたで。
It moved. I'm sure it
確
did.
かに動いた。
みんな見て。
Everyone look.
ライオンの像の向きが変わってるわ。
The lion statue's facing the other way.
どういうことでしょう。
Going up.
ライオンの像に何か秘密が？
Is there a secret inside the lion statue?
違うな。
That's
こ
not
れ
it.
はおそらくライオンの向いた方向を
It's telling
見よ
us.
という意味だ。
Look where the lion's
見
pointing.
たまえ。
See?
あのライオンの見る先を。
Look that way.
あそこのライオンの向きも変わってるわ。
Lion's facing a
ど
different
う
way
いうこ
too.
と？
What does it mean?
バカね。あれは誘導してるのよ。
Guiding us,
ラ
stupid.
イオンの向く方へ行けという意味だわ。
We have to go in the direction the lion's face. Ava dashed forward. The others all chased after her. The gold was right in front of them. Okay.
驚いた
Now
ね。
this is a
こん
surprise.
な秘密の階段があったとは。
I'm curious, are they gonna meet is Genji gonna meet them at the bottom? I wonder what'll happen. Who would have thought that a hidden stairway like this existed?
納得だわ。
Makes sense now.
お父様が誰も礼拝堂に近づけたがらないはずよ。
Father didn't like people going near the chapel.
この仕掛けは一体いつからあったのかしら。
I wonder how long that device has
地
been
下道
there.
の感じからして相当の昔からだわ。
Judging by the feel of this passage, probably quite a long time.
おそらくお屋敷を作った時とほぼ
I
同
imagine
時
it
で
was
しょ
built
う
at
ね。
nearly the same time as the mansion
多
itself.
分碑文の謎も何十年も前から用意
Literally
されてい
Epitaph
た
is
のよ。
also planned many decades ago.
まああの親父だから
Well, this is Dad we're talking
大
about.
抵のことには驚かねえつもりだったが
I try not to let things he does surprise me, but this.
一体この階段
How far does
ど
the
こまで
stairway
続
go?
くのでしょう。
こらあの噂は本当かもしれんで。
Maybe that old rumor was
ほ
true.
ら森の中のどこかに愛人を囲ってる隠し屋敷があるっちゅう話や。
You know the story about him having a mistress in a hidden mansion somewhere in the
なる
forest?
ほど。
I
こ
see.
の地下通路がそこまで続いている可能性は高いな。
It is likely this underground passage goes all the way there.
あの日のあのお屋敷にまでつながってるのか
I
し
wonder
ら。
if it connects to the mansion from that day.
どうやら
I
ゴ
think
ー
we
ルみた
found
い
the
よ
goal.。
武骨な扉があるわ。
Look at that filthy
何
door.
か書いてある。
Something's written on it.
こりゃビンゴだな
Bingo. Something was written on the door in red paint. On the 10th twilight at journey's end, you shall attain the power of the Golden Land's treasures once and for the last time.
開く
Does it open?
開くわ。
Does.
いい
Ready?
開けるわよ。
I'm gonna open it.
いよいよ黄金と
So we
ご対面
finally
かね。
reached the gold. It's the...
そんなうまい話。
There shouldn't be any changes,
ぜ
right?
ひや
Like
っ
the
て
gold
くれ
should
と
still be
祈
there.
るばかりや。
I can only hope such a sweet deal is really true. Because Shannon didn't move it.
姉さん、開けましょう。
Let's open it, Nason.
ええ
Right.
開けるわよ。
I'm opening it. The heavy door opened slowly. The gold-filled underground VIP room showed itself. I mean, Kinzo's... I believe the requirement was to have found it without help, right? I believe that was the first question that was asked of Shannon when she found it by Genji, was whether or not she found it without with assistance. So, there might be some reason they don't actually get it, because... reasons? I don't fucking know. Or she just gives them all the money and they move on, and you're like, well, that was the thing. I keep my promises was set in red. I guess so. They only had an instant to admire its splendid furnishings. As soon as the mountain of gold next to the canopy bed came into sight, they all froze stunned, and after a second, the stunned silence faded and was replaced by cries of astonishment and wild joy. Because last time the gold got found, they still kept murdering people, so... I'm just curious where we'll go next.
素晴らしい。
Incredible! I can't believe it. It's 20 billion yen in gold.
200億円が本当に
It really does exist.
本当にあったんだわ。
なんてまば
What a
ゆ
shining
い山
mountain.
なの。目が潰れそうだ。
It almost blinds the eyes.
やったでやったでこのゲームはわしらの勝ちや。
緑に触ってはなりません。
You mustn't touch it without
お
permission.
父様の黄金ですよ。
It's father's gold. Alright.
あらそう。
Oh, really?
じゃあお父様を今すぐ呼んできてちょうだい。
Why don't you call father down here now?
今すぐここへ。
Right now?
茶番はとっくに終わってんのよ。
The time for your farce is over and done with.
夏日姉さんよ
Natsuhine-san.
もうここからは白々しい話は抜きにしようぜ
Let's put an end to the obvious lies,
こ
shall
こ
we?
にあるのは本物の黄金の山
We have a real mountain of gold right
俺た
here.
ちも本音で語り合うべきだぜ
Shouldn't we be honest with each other?
幸いにも私たちは今とても上機嫌で寛大だわ。
Fortunately, we're all in a good mood and feeling very gracious now.
おとなしく引っ込んでなさい。
Give it up already. A pile of gold this massive carries magical power within it. The power draws out the most honest feelings within people. The light from the chandelier glinted off the golden mountain, lighting them up with its golden sparkle. It was as though the sparkle controlled everyone present. For some time, they forgot their age. They howled, laughed, ran around, rolling around like a bunch of excited kindergartners at a park. I guess Genji's not meeting them at the basement. Just say congratulations.
何これ
What's all
どうい
this?
うこと
What's it supposed to mean?
事件が起こる前に碑文が
Before the crimes, the epitaph
それも
was solved and by all the
親族
siblings
兄弟
together.
全員によって解かれてしまうなんて今までになかった展開ね
It hasn't happened in any game before now.
ベアトリーチェは碑文の謎を解いたら
Supposedly, Beatrice decided not to commit the crime if the epitaph was solved, but we've had the epitaph solved not once but twice and had all the murders occur, so this will be interesting.
そういうことにはなってるけど
Supposedly.
どうだか
We'll see about that. NJ snorted, but I believed. This is what Claire decided. She entrusted everything to the roulette of fate. She'll obey the result. Let the roulette decide her fate specifically because they couldn't decide on their own. She'll do what it says. She'll follow her own rule. She'll definitely keep her promise.
起こらないはずです事件
I
は
don't think the crime will occur.
断言できるの
You sure about that?
はい
Yes.
もう彼女のルーレットは決まって
Her
るんで
roulette's
す
already made its decision.
これで彼女のゲ
This
ー
is
ム
the
は
end of her
終了
game.
です終了ならどうなるっての
If it's the end, what happens
めで
next?
たくみんなで大金持ちになって無事に親族会議はおしまい
They'll become happy rich people and leave the conference
私
unharmed?
の家族は中身がチョコレートじゃないインゴットをお土産に
Does my
私
family
のと
get
ころへ帰ってきてくれるというの
Does my family get an ingot that isn't chocolate as a parting gift before it comes back to me?
これで全てがハッピーエンドだと
Will it be a happy end for
あの
everyone?
魔女どもがそんな甘い夢を鎖につな
You
ぎな
think
がら
those
見せて
witches
く
will
れる
chain
わ
us
け
to chairs to show us a naive dream like that? It's not going to happen that nicely. When she showed off the chain on her wrist with a clank, I was unable to counter her with confidence. But I want to believe. Although this might be the least exciting ending, Claire's game has now reached an end. But Leon, there's another round of... there's one more story to be told. Chapter 8. We're not done yet. Perhaps just once at the end she wanted to show us a world where no crime occurs. Now that she's disappeared with no regrets, is she leaving us a parting gift in the form of a game where no crime takes place? That would be kind of... I guess we could do that and then get a good run after that. The most peaceful sort of game. Is this our world where several people win and several people lose, therefore not our true ending? I want to believe. If only these heavy, cold chains weren't holding us in place in the theater.
誰かいるの
Someone there? Rosa's shrill cry brought the celebrating to an immediate stop. Rosa knew she'd seen it. The curtain against the wall fluttered and a shadow had been there behind it.
よせやい。
Oh, don't do
気の
that.
せいだろう。
You're imagining things.
誰かいるの
Is someone
い
there?
るなら出てらっしゃい
If you're there, come out. When Ava yelled, the curtains shook. And then a witch wearing a black dress appeared from the other side. In an instant, everyone realized the dress was the same as the one worn by the witch of the portrait. They realized one more thing. This person was the owner of this room.
ようこそ黄金の部屋へ
Welcome to the room with the gold. Her face and voice were expressionless, blank. The others all looked at each other, wondering who should respond. Rudolph was first to speak.
つまり、あんたが
So you're
ベアトリーチェってわけか。
Beatrice?
いかにも
Indeed.
マリアに手紙を渡したのは
And you're the one who gave Maria that letter?
いかにも
Indeed.
これは親父殿の差し金なのかね。
Is father behind this?
いいえ
No.
これは私のゲームです
This is my game.
ならそのゲームは私たちの勝
If
ちだ
that's
わ
so, we've won.
こうして碑文の謎を解いて黄金を見つけたもの
We've solved the epitaph's riddle and found the gold.
あんたの挑戦に
We
うちら
accepted
が
your challenge
勝ったん
and
や
won.
でこの黄金わしらのもんちゅうことで間違いないんやろな
That means this gold belongs to us, right?
いかにもその通りで
Indeed.
す
It is as you say.
皆さんは碑文の謎を解き見事
You
に
solved the
こうして
epitaph splendidly
隠
and
された
discovered the
黄
hidden
金を
gold.
発見しましたこのゲームは皆さんの勝ちです
This game ends in your
こ
victory.
の黄金はもはや私のものではなく
The gold no longer belongs to me,
皆さんの
but to all of you.
潔いことだね。
Seems you're a graceful loser.
ねえ
Hey, you.
もし碑文の謎を私たちが解けなかったらどうするつもりだったの
If we hadn't solved the epitaph's riddle, what were you planning to do?
後宮家のすべてを頂戴すると手紙にはあったぜ。
The letter said you'd take everything of the Ushirimiya family.
はい。
Yes.
後宮家のすべての財産とすべての命、
Plan to take all your wealth and all of your lives.
この島に存在するすべてを私の好きにさせてもらうつもりでした。
Plan to do as I please with everything that exists on this island. The witch walked towards the table next to the bed, and then for the first time the others realized what sat on that table. There were 4 rifles. There was also a case filled with bullets. The witch picked up one of the lead bullets laying on the table and played with it, her face still expressionless as she spoke.
もし皆さんが碑文の謎を解けずに今夜を終えたなら、
This night ended before you managed to solve this epitaph's riddle.
私は碑文に従い
Planned to follow the epitaph
13
and
人を
commit
殺す殺人事件を起
13
こ
murders.
すつもりでした。
なんですって。
Did you say? Poor Beata, this game. Imagine setting up an elaborate riddle to get Battler to remember, and these guys just waltz into a room while she's sleeping to say they already solved it. Yep,
あの碑文を初めて見たときは思っ
that's
た
what I thought when
わ
I first saw the epitaph.
まるで連続殺人を描いた推理小説に出てきそうだなって。
Almost looked like something you'd find in a serial murder mystery
そ
novel.
うね。
That's right.
あの碑文の通りに13人が次々に殺されたら、それ
If
は
you'd
とても
killed
ミステリア
13
スな
people,
事件になった
matched
で
the
しょう。
epitaph, that would have made quite a mysterious crime.
お前一人にそれができるわけもありません。
There's no way you could do that by yourself.
いくら銃があっても13人も殺すなどいくらなんでも。
No matter how many guns you have, killing 13 people, that'd be...
計画は入念に、そして何通りにも用意していました。
I formed my plan with great care and constructed several alternatives.
皆さんが今夜から明日までに取り得るすべての可能性を想定し、
I envisioned all
そ
the
の
actions
す
you
べて
might
に
take from
対応で
tonight.
きるミステリ
and
ー
through
をご
tomorrow.
用意する予定でした。
I prepared a mystery to deal with each of those.
今となっては披露はできませんが、それは綿密に練られた愉快な密室殺人の数々を用意していたのです。
I'm afraid I can't reveal those at this point, but it was really a tightly knit set of pleasant closed room murders.
ほんの数人なら銃で寝首をかくこともできたろうよ。
Well, if there was a few of us, you probably could have gunned us down in our
だ
sleep.
が、さすがに13人も
There's no way
殺せ
you
る
could
わ
have
けが
killed
ねえ。
13 of us.
俺たちはそこまで間抜けじゃねえぜ。
We aren't that stupid.
そのようですね。
It would seem so.
少なくとも第一の晩以前に碑文の謎を解かれるという想定は最も可能性の低いものだと思っていました。
At any rate, I predicted the epitaph being solved before the first twilight was the most unlikely result. Small bombs could do it easily. Exactly.
君にとっては私たちがここへたどり着くのはどうやら誤算だったようだ
It
ね。
seemed that us reaching this place was a miscalculation on your part.
いいえ、
No.
これすらも私の望んだルーレットの結果の一つ。
Even this was one of the results of the roulette I wished to create.
そしておそらく皆さんにとって最高の結果を意味するでしょう。
This is probably the best outcome for all of you.
誰も死ぬことなく
No one will
黄
die.
金を手に島を出ることがで
You
き
can leave this island with the gold.
おめでとうございます。
Congratulations.
ゲームは皆さんの完全な勝利です。
The game ends with a perfect victory for all of you. If no one could solve the riddle, she planned to take a gun and commit a serial murder. Everyone gulped as they watched the witch emotionlessly make her confession.
あなたの告白が真実なら、
Well, if this confession of yours is the
あ
truth,
なたは私たちを殺そうとしてたことになるわ。
that means you were trying to kill us.
はい、
Yes,
そうです。
that's true.
こいつ、
The hell?
よくもシャーシャーと言えるもんだぜ。
How could you just say it like that?
そこまで打ち明けた以上我々が君を好意的に扱うとは思えないはずだ
You
が
couldn't possibly expect us to treat you favorably after revealing that much to us, right?
覚悟の上です。
I'm prepared.
私のことは煮るなり焼くなりお好きな
You
よう
may do
に。
as you will with me.
皆さんが碑文を解けなければそうなっていたのは皆さんなのですから、これは対等なことなのです。
If you hadn't solved the epitaph, I would have done the same to you, so it's only fair.
この姉ちゃん大した肝っ玉
Bro's got guts.
命を落とす覚悟があったからこそ用意したゲームでした。
I planned this game because I was prepared to bet my life.
その結果を得られて私は満足してい
I'm
ます。
satisfied with the result.
もはや殺されようともそれも覚悟の上です。
If you wish to kill me now, I'm prepared. By now, she didn't even treasure her life. As the witch spoke and walked near the others, they automatically stepped back.
黄金は皆さんのものです。
The gold belongs to
最
all
初
of
に
you.
発見した方に全てを差し上げるつもりでしたが、7人でいらっしゃるとは想定しませんでした。
I planned to give everything to the one who discovered it first, but I didn't expect there to be 7 of you.
7人でどう分けるかは、皆さんで決められるといいでしょう。
I leave the decision of how to split the gold to you.
私はそれに関知しません。
I won't involve
それ
myself.
から、
And the witch walked even closer. The group parted and she walked up to the antique clock behind them. The clock was large and had a dignified feel to it. The witch patted it and spoke.
この時計の仕掛けも皆さんにご説明しましょう。
Allow me to explain the device within this
皆
clock.
さんは黄金だけでなく、
For you have gained not just the
この
gold,
島のすべてを手に入れられたのですから。
but the entirety of this island.
それはどういう意味かね？
What do you mean by that?
第8の番までを殺人事件風に読み解いたら、確かに殺されるのは13人だわ。
If you read it like a murder case up into the 8th twilight, only 13 people are killed.
でも第9の番にははっきりと
But by the 9th twilight,
誰も生き残れはしないと記されてい
it
るわ。
clearly says none are to be left alive.
どういうことだ？
What does that
こ
mean?
いつはつまり俺たちを皆殺しにしよう
He's
っ
planning
て
to kill all
企ん
of
でた
us?
ってことか？
まさか
Now tell me the clock.
その時計は。
お察しの通りです。
As you've guessed,
爆薬と連動しています。
it is linked to a set of explosives.
その仕掛けを用意したのはあなた？
Are you the one who set
そ
that
れ
up?
とも後ろ宮金蔵なの？
Or was that Ushiromiya Kinzo?
仕掛けを作ったのは後宮金蔵です。
Kinzo is the one who set up the
こ
device.
の仕掛けこそが彼の狂気の魔力の源泉。
It's the source of his mad magical power.
何を言ってるのか
I
さ
don't
っ
have a
ぱ
clue
り
what you're talking about.
つまり
In other words,
親父は爆弾を用意してて、
Dad set up
無
this
一文に
bomb.
なったらいつでもきれいさっぱり自分ごと全てを吹き
If
飛
he
ばして
ever
死ん
went
じまう
broke, he
覚
was
悟があっ
ready
た
to
って
wipe
わ
out
けか。
everything, including himself, and die.
後宮金蔵はこの島で黄金の魔女と契約し、黄金を得ました。
Nice plan. On this island, Ushiromiya Kinzo made a contract with the Golden Witch and obtained the
しか
gold.
し、得たのは
However,
黄
it
金だけで
wasn't
はなかった
all
の
he
です。
gained.
どういうことですか？
まさかと
Wait, don't tell me.
思うけど。
This is why Beato didn't deny small bombs. It would be weird if she denied small bombs in particular. It's like many small bombs, and it's like, many bombs. Are they small? I don't know about that. Look, it's easy. It's easy. It's not a bomb that blows up the whole... It's not one bomb that blows up the whole island. It's like 20 different bombs, so they're small bombs. We're good. Don't tell me.
六軒島には旧日本軍の基地跡があるという噂話を聞いたこと
There's a
がある
rumor
が
about the remains of an old Japanese military base existing on
ま
Rockinjima.
さか
Could it be?
ご検察の通りです。こ
Oh,
の
for the
島の
purpose
地
of
下
that
に
murder,
は
small bombs is
戦時
easily
中の
deniable.
旧日本軍の地下基地跡が
It's probably
眠ってい
deniable.
ます。
Beneath this island sleep the remains of an underground Japanese military base from the time of
そ
the
し
war,
てそこには900トンの爆薬も眠っているのです。
along with 900 tons of explosives.
900トンやって
900 tons? That's a lot of explosives.
とんでもない量や
That's unbelievable.
そない爆発したら想像もつかん
If that exploded, the result would be unimaginable.
屋敷どころか
Forget the
クレ
mansion.
ーターが開くっちゅうもんやで
Leave a massive crater.
専門家の推定では直径 1km 深さ数十メートルの大穴が開くとか。
I believe an expert's estimate put it at a hole several dozen meters deep and a kilometer across. No big deal.
跡形も残らんな
There wouldn't even be a trace left.
この爆弾は特別な仕掛けで爆発します。
The explosives can be ignited by a special device.
私が今操作した
One connected to the activation
こ
switch
れ
I
が
just
起
flipped.
動のスイッチです。
The witch toy with the switch on the top part of the antique clock.
この状態で24時を迎えると爆発します。
If midnight arrives when the switch is in this position, the bombs will explode.
もうすぐ24時ですが。
It's almost 2400 now.
つまり残り何時間で爆発するというのではなく、
In In other words, it won't explode X hours after you flip it.
24時ぴったりにしか爆発しない次元爆弾という、ね。
It's a time limit bomb that only explodes at midnight.
いかにも。
Indeed.
もうじき24時を迎えますね。
It's almost midnight
もし
now.
爆発をお望みでしたら、このままにしておきますが。
If such an explosion is what you desire, you need only leave it at like this.
バカ言ってんじゃないわよ。
Who would want
解除
that?
しなさい。
Turn it off. By this time, Kinzo was probably the only one who knew. The secret base on Rockinjima started out as a sub-base. However, when the plan reached a standstill, it was redefined as a top-secret base for Homeland Defense. A huge plan had been drawn up to have the Army and Navy perform a pincer attack on American forces if the latter decided to land on Kyujukuri Beach and press towards Tokyo. As a trump card for this massive defense maneuver, the Navy started stockpiling large quantities of explosives and fuel in absolute secrecy. The Rockinjima base was the location of that top-secret stockpile. The buried explosives weighed 900 tons in total. Fearing Americans might find out the island's secrets and seize the explosives, they set up a system for self-destruction of the entire island. Kinzo, who knew all this, decided not to remove this device, but to tie it in with a strange clock that could trigger such an explosion any night at midnight. Kinzo was famous for building up his funds using a vast store of gold and then using those funds in several sink-or-swim gambles, one after another. Just what did his stockpile of gold and the 900 tons of sleeping explosives mean for him? At this point, we can only guess. Perhaps the true source of Kinzo's mad power wasn't the gold after all. If he lost a big gamble in all that he owned, he could erase his entire island from existence with this device. For the rest of his life, he must have put the gold in everything else he had on the line. He probably stared at this clock at times, sometimes flipping the activation switch and letting it tick down. Maybe whenever he came up against a troubling problem, he'd hide in here and flip the switch, with the intention of blowing everything away if he didn't think of a brilliant plan before midnight. That's a Chad move. Alright, he could gaze at this mountain of gold, listening to the clock tick towards his death as he searched for an idea. Perhaps Kinzo's real study wasn't the one in the mansion, but this place instead.
親父らしい仕掛けだぜ。
That sounds just like Dad. Of
俺
course
た
it
ち
does.
子供は親父が悩み事をするたびに道連れにされてたかもしれないってわけだ。
Rudolph says he hates you. Rudolph says, I hate you, Dad. Kinzo's just like, I need to go to the chapel for a minute. Give me a second. I need to think about this. He's like, do I wait for midnight or not? Maybe each time Dad worried about something, all his kids were put on the line as well.
あのお父様ならあり得る話
His
ね。
father, I wouldn't be unthinkable.
この仕掛けも、もはや皆さんのもので
Device
す。
now belongs to all of you.
大爆発をお望みでしたら、いつでもどうぞ。
If you desire a massive explosion, use it whenever you please.
アホ抜かせ。
Are you crazy?
誰が大爆発なんか望むんや。
Who'd want a big explosion?
半世紀も前の爆弾でしょ。
These explosives are half a century
本
old,
当
right?
に爆発するの？
Would they really go off?
はい、もちろん。
Yes, of course.
爆薬も新刊も健在です。
Explosives and fuses are still
試し
working.
ましたから。
I tested them myself.
試した。
You tested them?
まさか
You mean that?
あれか。
そうか。
I see.
や
Now
っ
I
とわかっ
understand.
たよ。鎮守の社が跡形もなく消え去ったのはそういうわけか。
But that's why the shrine disappeared without a trace. That summer, the shrine had disappeared completely along with the reef under it. Though people found it odd the waves could have wiped it out so completely, no one paid it much mind. And now this piece fits perfectly into the hole that caused the strange feeling.
いかにも、
Indeed.
半世紀を経て、今なお爆薬が健在であるか、あの社で実験さ
I
せ
used
て
the
いただき
shrine
ま
to
した。
test whether explosives were still working after half a
結果
century.
は、皆さんもご承知の通
I
り
believe
で
you're all
す。
aware of the result.
あの程度の量で、あの岩礁が丸々消え去るのですから。
The little bit I used was enough to make the entire reef vanish.
900トンもの爆薬があれば、地図が書き換わるほどの爆発を起こすことは、
It's easy to
容易
see
に
how
想像で
900
きるで
tons
しょ
of
う。
that would cause an explosion large enough to rewrite the map.
そんな爆弾を爆発させたら確かに我々はみんな死ぬだろうね。
If an explosion like that were to occur, it would certainly kill all of
し
us.
かし
What about
君は
you?
どうしたのね。まさか私たちと一緒に心中するつもりだったとは思えんが。
I doubt you were planning on committing a group suicide with us.
この地下貴賓室は基地跡の地下通路に通じています。
This underground VIP room is connected by a subterranean passage to the remnants of the military base.
それをまっすぐ進めば島の反対側にある隠し屋敷クワドリアンに出ることができま
If
す。
you go straight along that, you'll come out at the hidden mansion on the opposite side of the island,
距離
Kuwadorian.
は約 2km。
About 2 kilometers away.
そこまで逃げれれば爆発からも逃れられるでしょう。
If you make it all the way there, you should be able to escape the blast. I
な
see.
爆発の直前にそこへ逃れるつもりだったのね。
You plan to escape there just before the blast.
そうすることも可能というだけの話です。
I've only said such a thing is possible.
皆さんは信じないでしょうが、私は皆さんの誰も謎を解くことができず、第
You
9
may not
の
believe
番を
this.
迎えてしまったなら、
But if the ninth twilight ended before any of you solved the riddle,
すべてと共に心中するつもりでおりましたから。
I plan to die along with everything else.
こいつ頭がどうか
Something
してやが
seriously
る。
wrong with this girl?
イカれてるのよ。
It's insane.
考えるだけ無駄だわ。
There's no point overthinking it.
この女は私たちがもし碑文を解けなければあそこの銃で
There's no point overthinking it. If we hadn't solved the epitaph, she would have used the
あ
gun.
るいはそこの爆弾のスイッチで私たちを皆殺しにしたのよ。
Massacre all of us, right?
それだけは疑いようがないわ。
There's no doubting that now. I like how she sees the
その通りです。
switch, and I like how she describes the switch that can kill everyone on the island, and they assume it's real. Kind of funny.
皆さんは
correct.
誰
You
一
ended
人
this
犠
game
牲者を出さないという
In the best
最
possible
善
way,
の形でこのゲームを終えられたのです。
without there being even a single victim.
敬意を表すると同時に心より感服いたします。
I wish to convey my respect and admiration.
私があれだけ長い時間をかけて解いた謎を7人がかりとはいえ一晩で
There may have been several of you, 7 of you, but you did solve the riddle which took me so long to solve in a single
それ
night.
は称えられるべきです。
It's worthy of praise.
私も君の潔さに敬意を表するよ。
I admire you for your graciousness and honesty in defeat.
君の処遇はこれから考えるが、極力紳士的なものになるよう配慮するつもりだ。
We'll decide how to deal with you in the future, but I intend to do all I can to reach a gentlemanly agreement.
私のことはもうお気になされず、
Pay me no mind any longer.
私は皆さんを殺し自らも死ぬ覚悟をすでにしている亡者なのですから。
I'm already one of the dead who is prepared to kill everyone and die myself. The Golden Witch Beatrice solved the epitaph, reached this room, and revived. And now, new people solved the riddle, reached this room, so her role was finished. When the epitaph's riddle was solved, Beatrice's illusion of the witch ended, and most likely no one in the room was capable of understanding her grim determination. She herself was probably the only one who understood. As long as the many selves inside of her understood, that was enough. I'm one yet many. I abandoned myself to the magical roulette of endless possibilities. The result? The answer? Well, it's this. This is what the tarot cards known as the epitaph ceremony have shown me. Beatrice is already dead. They didn't kill her. I killed myself in accordance with fate's command. They will never understand for all eternity. The witch stared up at the ceiling without speaking for a while, and then looked as though she suddenly remembered something. She grabbed at the sleeves of her dress and took out some sort of card.
そうそう、
Oh yes,
忘れていました。
I forgot.
私に死に銭など必要ありませんので、
I have no need for money
こ
after
れも
death.
皆さんにお渡しします。
I'll give all this to you as well.
キャッシュカー
A
ド。
cash card.
黄金の一部を現金化していました。
I converted a portion of the gold to
そ
cash.
れが入っている口座です。
This is for the account the money is in.
なるほどな。
I see.
黄金の魔女のまさに魔法エネルギーっちゅうわけやな。
So this is the source of the Golden Witch's magical energy?
いくら入っているんだね。
How much?
詳しくは忘れました。
Forget the
で
details.
も、10億以上は入っています。
However, there's more than a billion yen.
10億。
Billion?
そりゃ確かに魔法だ
Now
ぜ。
that really would be magic.
そうね。
True.
それだけのお金でできないことはないで
There's
しょう、
nothing you
ね。
couldn't do with that much money.
そうですね。
Very
人
true.
間の反魔法の毒素に最も強い唯一の魔法が、この黄金の魔法。
The strongest magic to counter humans' anti-magic toxin is the magic of
ある
gold.
意味、このカードはインゴットよりも 強い力を持つかもしれませんね。
Maybe this card holds greater power than the ingots.
まったくだね。インゴットより現金の方が喜ばれるものだ。
Cash would be much more agreeable than ingots.
どうぞ。
Here you go.
私にはもはや不要なものですので。
I have no need of this anymore. Card she held out was not taken by any of them. Who would ever just hand over a card with 1 billion yen in it? The mountain of gold, the device for blowing up the island, the card with 1 billion yen. All these surpassed their understanding, so no one could bring themselves to take it.
気に入らないわ。
I don't like it.
何がですか？
What don't you like?
黄金の山を、はいどうぞ。
Here you go. Here's the mountain of gold.
爆弾も解除します。10億のカードもどうぞ。
I'll turn off the explosives and give you a card with 1 billion yen while we're at it.
話がうますぎて気持ち
Sounds
悪い
too
の
good
よ
to。be true.
あんた、何か私たちを騙そうって企
You're
ん
trying
で
to
るん
trick
じゃ
us,
ない
aren't
でしょ
you?
うね。
Somehow.
騙す気もありませんが、信じろとも言いません。
I have no desire to trick you, but I won't try and force you to believe.
私はすべてを差し出し、すべてを明かしています。
I have offered you everything and revealed everything.
何を信じ、どうしようと、それはもう、新しい黄金の主である皆さんが決めることです。
What you believe and what you decide do now is for you, the new masters of the gold, to
私
decide.
の言うことを何も信じず、この場を立ち去ることさえ皆さ
You're
んの
even
自由
free
で
to
す。
disbelieve all I say and leave this place.
エヴァ、
Ava.
彼女が嘘を言っているとは思えな
I
い。
can't imagine she's lying.
なんでそうだってわかるのよ。
How do you know that?
こいつの余裕が気に入らないのよ。
I don't like how relaxed she's
まるで
acting.
もう全てに勝利したかのようだわ。
It's as though she thinks she's already won.
私、今ふと思ったの。
I had an idea a second ago.
爆弾のスイッチとかいうの、オンとオフが逆じゃないの？
What if she's lying about which side's the off side of the switch?
それ、
What do you mean,
どういうこと
Nay-san?
姉さん。さっきその女は爆弾を解除すると言ってそのスイッチをいじったわ。
Just a second ago, this woman flipped the switch to the side she said would turn off the bomb.
実はその時スイッチを入れたんじゃないの？
What if that actually armed the
あ
bomb?
んたは私たちに謎を解かれたんで、私たちごと全てを吹き飛ばすために爆弾のスイッチをオンにしたんじゃないの？
We solved the riddle, so you turned the bomb switch to on, trying to blow us and everything else up, right? What a great ending. What a great penalty. Beatrice is just
そう
like,
お思いでしたら、どうぞその時計のスイッチを入れてください。
if that's what you think, feel free to flip the switch on this
あ
clock.
と1分で24時。
It'll be 2401
真
minutes.
実は時計が教えてくれます。
The clock will show you the truth.
なんですって？
おい、どうすんだよ。
What are we supposed to do?
今爆弾はオンなのか
Is the bomb set to on now?
オフなのか
Is it off?
彼女が嘘を言ってるとは思えん。
I can't imagine she's lying.
今が解除だ。
It's inactive now.
押すべきではない。
We shouldn't flip it.
でも気に入らない
I
の
don't
よ。
like it.
なんでこんなに素直なのこいつ。
Why is she so resigned to her
なん
fate?
でこうもはいどうぞはいどうぞってなるの？
Why is she offering us the things one after the
こ
other?
いつは私たちを騙して時間を稼いでるのよ。
He's tricking us to buy time.
24時になるまで時間を稼いで私たちを道連れにするつもりだわ。
She wants to buy time until 2400 so she can go down in flames along with us. Beatrice is just sitting there like, if these idiots... Beatrice is just like, I swear to God, if these guys kill themselves, this will be the funniest shit.
そのスイッチはどうなっ
What's
て
the
る
switch itself?
オンかオフか分かる形状なの？
Is there a way to tell if it's on or off? On the upper part of the antique clock was a metal switch that could slide left or right. Right now it was set to the left. However, there were no marks in particular on either side to tell one which one was off and which one was on.
おい、白状しろ。
Hey, tell us the
どっ
truth.
ちがオフなんだ？
Which way is off?
左が、
Left.
今がオフです。
It's off now.
バカルドル
You
フ。
idiot.
その女が正直に言うはずがないで
That's
し
an
ょ。
honest answer from
逆よ、逆に決まってるわ。
opposite. It has to be. If Ava kills everyone, oh my God, it's so funny. I want Ava to kill everyone so I can laugh. Please, please end in Ava killing everyone. Oh, that would be such a funny ending to this arc.
右がオフなのよ、そうに違い
The
ない。
side must be off.
もう時間がないわ
You don't
姉
have
さ
any
ん。
more time, Nason?
よせエヴァ。
But Ava,
スイッチをいじるな。
don't touch the
今
switch.
がオフだ。
It's set to
エヴァ
off
さん
now.
その手を離しなさい。
Ava-san, take your hand off
私
it.
も同感よ。
I agree.
今がオフだわ。
It's off now.
もし私たちを爆弾で殺すつもりなら、彼女は爆弾の話を告
If
白
she
しな
wanted
か
to
った
kill
は
us with
ず
a
よ。
bomb, she wouldn't have told us about it. The smart thing to do would have like the bubble on the left side actually be the bomb control and be lying about it completely. If she actually wanted to kill everyone, that would be the smart thing to do. You tell them this switch does it, they argue about the switch, it's actually the random dongle on the left that like if pressed in will detonate it. That would be the plan if you're trying to kill someone. But of course, Beatrice plays games with people, so she's probably telling the truth that it's the real switch, right?
ベアトリーチェ
Beatrice!
私を騙そうったって
Don't think you can trick me?
そうはいかないわよ。
5、4、
4, 5,
3
4, 3. Kyrie knows fear cuts deeper than swords, so she's so calm about it, yeah. The second hand of the clock ticked past 2400. October 4th ended and the curtain rose on October 5th, 1986. The switch was still pointing to the left. The witch's words had been proven correct.
これで信用していただけましたか？
Have I gained your trust now?
この穴
You bitch. That was so funny though. With a hideous sweat-covered expression, Ava snatched the cash card away from the witch's hand.
通帳と印鑑は
How about a bank book and seal?
カードだけじゃ引き出せないわよ。
We can't withdraw anything with just a card.
暗証番号で引き出せます。
All you need's the
8
pin.
桁です。
It's 8 digits long.
ちょっと待ちなさいよ。
Wait a
今
second.
書くから。
I'm writing it down. Ava and Kyrie both took out a pen and notepad and began writing the 8-digit number the witch told them.
これで私から皆さんへ伝えること。
That's
そし
everything
て
I
受
have
け
to tell
渡す
you
ものはすべて
and
終わ
give
り
you.
です。もう私は自ら何も喋りま
I'll
せん。
say nothing more.
役目をすべて終えましたので。
All my tasks have been completed. After saying this, the witch spun around and sat down on the bed. She wasn't even looking at the others anymore. She sat like an empty husk which had, just as she said, finished everything it existed to do. For a while, everyone watched the witch to see if she'd remember something else and start talking. However, she said nothing else. The witch who had called herself one of the dead was now little more than a large French doll wearing a black dress. Alright. Gold's the only physical embodiment of magic that can exist in the human world. Since ancient times, even a small bit of it could control men with its magic. In that case, how much magic power would dwell in it if it was piled up in a mountain so high you have to look up to see the top?
バカ言わないでよ、山分けよ。
Don't be stupid, we'll split it evenly.
山分けに決まってんでしょ。
Isn't that the obvious solution? They're
この
still
山の
arguing.
半分がまず私のもので、さらに半分を4等分するという話だったのではないかね。
Didn't we say half this pile would belong to me and the other half would be split between the four of us? The yells of the humans dancing around the gold reverberated throughout the underground room. In front of the pile of gold, they were arguing about how it should be split.
兄さん一人で謎が解けた？
Did you solve the riddle by yourself,
解け
Nisa?
なかったでしょ？
You didn't, right?
私たち兄弟4人で解いたのよ。
The four of us siblings solved it
4
together.
等分で当然でしょうが。
Of course, we'll split it in 4 equal parts.
卑劣な
Howard.
黄金の分配についてはあなたたちが提案したのではないですか。
Were she the ones who made the proposal about the gold's distribution?
それを勝手に保護にするなんて。
How do you disregard that so easily?
取引できる立場だと思ってんのか？
Think you're in a position to bargain?
親父が
The
死んでる
classic
ことを
argument.
隠してるくせに。
When you're the ones hiding Dad's death?
そうよそうよ。
Yeah.
私たちをずっと欺いてお父様の財産を私物化してきたくせに。
Been swindling us this whole time, treating father's wealth as if it were your own?
それをうやむやにする分も全て含めてチャラにして仲良く4
All we
等
need to do is split the gold evenly and we'll drop the rest, including that particular
フ
issue.
ェアな話だと思うわ。
Sounds fair to me.
ほう。そこまで言うなら4等分にしようじゃない
Well,
か
if。you insist, go ahead and try splitting it 4
今
ways.
すぐこの山を切り分けて自由に持って帰るがいい。
Let's divide this pile now and you can take your shares home.
2.5 トン分のインゴットが入るポケットでもお持ちならばの話だがね。
I hope you have pockets that can hold 2.5 tons of
それに
ingots.
諸君はどうやら黄金の山に惑わされてすっかり冷静
You've
な
been
判断
driven
を
mad
失
by
っ
the
てし
gold
ま
and
ってい
lost
るようだ。
all ability to make rational judgments.
そらどういう意味でか
What do you
ク
mean by
ラウ
that,
ス兄さん
Kraus-san?
このインゴットを見たまえ。
Oh, look at this ingot.
見ての通り刻まれているのは親父殿の紋章だけで正式な刻印ではない。
There's no official markings, just father's
刻印
crest.
の打たれていないインゴットを諸君はどう換金するというの
How
か
do you
ね。
intend to turn unmarked gold like this into cash?
それは
ようやく気づいたかね。
You figured it out?
確かにこの黄金の山には200億円の価値があるだろ
This gold may be worth 20 billion
う。し
yen.
かしそれは換金を経ればの
It's
話だ。
only if you can trade it for cash.
これだけの大量の刻印のない正体不明のインゴットを誰にも知られずにしかるべきレートで換金することが
Are any of
君
you
たちに
capable of
できる
exchanging
の
this
かね。
many? Unmarked, unidentified ingots for cash at the proper rates? If it was a necklace or a ring, exchanging it for cash would have been a manageable problem. But doing that for several tons of unmarked gold that couldn't be made public would be impossible for any normal person. Luckily, Genji is smart enough to do it, apparently. Although he probably only did like 1 or 2. However, Kraus could do it. Among the several business friends that remained from Kinzo's generation, there were some who had black market ties and a lot of financial power. The billion yen tied to the cash card the Golden Witch had held out a second ago had already been turned into cash thanks to one of Kinzo's connections. However, none of the other siblings had connections like that. They'd have to rely on Kraus to get cash for the gold.
ようやく分かってきたか
Now
ね。
you're finally seeing
親
it.
父殿のことを隠していたことは謝ろ
I apologize for writing all those things
う。し
about
かし
father.
それを弱みにできるほど君たちは優位な立場にはないのだよ。
However, you're in no position to take advantage of that weakness.
その程度のこ
You
と
think
で
you have an advantage because of
優
something
位
like
に
that?
立ったつもり？
なんだねそ
What do you
の
intend to
銃
do with
は。
that gun?
物騒な真似は慎みたまえ。
Please, you're scaring us. Ava was gripping the gun so hard it looked like it might snap. The 4 guns the witch had placed in this room were now in the hands of the relatives, and as the gold led their hearts astray, it seemed these guns had the magic power to turn their hearts to violence. Finally, a scuffle arose between Ava and Kraus. Off to the side, Natsuki started arguing with Rudolph and his wife, and the grand underground VIP room was filled with thundering jeers. This is almost as good as them killing the bomb in Paranoia. It's pretty good, but if they end up shooting each other, this is gonna be funny. It'll still be amusing. After being forced to watch this scene for so long, NJ's face was starting to contort with pain. It was only natural after being shown this abusive argument between her parents and other relatives.
なんてことだ。
What on earth? It was painful for Leon too. Leon would have tried to intervene and calm them if that had been possible. The gold isn't going anywhere, right? If you just slow down and think, you can resolve this. Going by what Ava and the others said, it's clear they need a lot of money before the end of the year. However, the billion yen cash card's more than enough to pay for that. Yeah, that's right, they don't even need the gold ingots. That would handle their emergency expenses. They could then convert the gold to cash at their leisure and split it amongst themselves. Sure, maybe Kraus is the only one capable of converting the gold. That might give the... Actually, he's not the only person Genji's capable of doing it, because how the fuck did Shannon do this in the first place, right? So, the smart thing to say would be, how did Beatrice convert the gold to cash? I mean, she's a witch, I guess, is the answer they want to think, but the reality is, Genji could have done this too. So they don't actually need Kraus, but no one's thinking, how did the witch make money? How did Beatrice do it? Because I assume, they haven't seen anything magical, they've just seen a woman, right? They've met a woman who knew about the gold, and is like, here's your reward, congratulations. So, from their perspective, there is nothing magical. This is a woman who was able to convert the gold into cash, therefore she can do it again. Genji would still be working for Kraus. Genji works for Beatrice. He's only managing things for Kraus because she asked him to. Genji is working with Beatrice and doing whatever she says. He's only following the rule. He's been shown to only be following Kraus because Beatrice asked him to. He said specifically that he'll follow Krause's orders, but Shannon is his true master. Or, sorry, Claire, or Beatrice, or whatever, you know. Go with whatever name you feel like. Is his real master, so they can get the gold to cash without Krause. Like, it's not even a problem. Because they go, oh, she said explicitly she converted some of the gold to cash, so she can probably do it again. You know, you might have to ask the witch for a cut or some shit, but, like, they can consider that, right? She doesn't seem to give a shit. She gave them all the gold. Like, she's giving them the gold. If she says she wants 20%, you're just like, okay. Sure. You want 20% of the money? Whatever. Alright. Might give him an advantage over other siblings. However, this gold couldn't be dealt with by open means. In addition to attracting public attention, it would also lead to various legal problems. It was better for this secret money to remain secret. If they wanted to get the largest portions possible, they should agree not to tell anyone about the gold. In other words, to maximize profits, they need to make a gentleman's agreement to keep this secret, and Krause did have a slight advantage, but it was possible for the other relatives to refuse to cooperate and tell the world about the gold. And then there was also the concealment of Kinzo's death to consider. Krause was an investor, and he needed not only financial clout, but a certain degree of public confidence in him. His advantage isn't big enough for him to act so overbearing. Mountain of Gold. He made everyone lose their ability to think rationally. It's not an argument between adults. It's an argument between dwarves. A fight between children. So fun about showing us this. Or is this the game of some new witch? Are they watching us suffer from somewhere and laughing? Leon's not happy about this. By now, even I didn't have a clue who was showing this to us or for what reason. At the very least, this new tale didn't seem to be overflowing with affection. At first, I thought it was the tale of a beautiful world where no crime occurred and Claire's regrets had vanished. But something's different. The tale is clearly filled with ill will towards us. I'm sure of that much now, but I don't have a clue who would want to show us this. Suddenly, an explosion rang out. I didn't think it was the sound of gunfire. After all, people living a normal life never hear that kind of sound. Drip, drip, drip. It was the sound of thick raindrops hitting the floor. There was no rain in this underground room. It was blood dripping down from Natsuhi's right eye. The bullet had gone in through her right eye, towards the back of her head.
Natsuhi!
It's your fault for jumping at me? Legitimate reason to shoot someone, by the way. Or sorry, well. It's probably unlikely that you are going to have to shoot someone, but hey. That's how the law determines that. The gun which fell from Ava's grasp landed on the floor with a hard metallic clank. As though in response to the sound, Natsuhi's head slowly turned to face the ceiling. Ripperoni Natsuhi! Done.
No. Natsuhi! Natsuhi!
Natsuhi! Ripperoni Natsuhi. Natsuhi flopped backwards. Well, she didn't get violent. She's claiming defensive and dropped the gun. Natsuhi flopped backwards. When the back of her head hit the floor, a red splash began spreading out beneath it, forming a single flower to adorn her dead face. Natsuhi. But I guess Natsuhi just can't get a break, man. She got framed. She got framed. She got framed for murder. She gets shot here. Man, I feel a bit bad for her. She's really getting wrecked. And of course Ava shoots her, right? Ava shoots her. She gets bullied so often by Ava, who legitimately just shoots her. I don't even know if Ava actually thinks she was in danger. That's the best part. As it's like completely reasonable for me to think that Ava would just be considering shooting Natsuhi because she's such a bitch. It's like, she's like, oh, if I just claimed she was moving too, if she was too jumpy and shot her, you know, is what it is. Took the safety off and shot her, bam, bam, like, yeah. He only shot one shot though, so it's easier to claim surprise.
No,
Why'd you shoot her? Kraus howled, raised his gun, and ran at Eva. Wait, what? At the same time, Hideyoshi leapt between them. A scuffle broke out between the two men. How could you not see? No.
クラウス兄さん、違うや。
Kraus兄さん, you got it wrong. You got it wrong.
これは事故や。
It was an accident.
Eva,
how could you? Only moderately bothered. I'll kill you. I'll kill you. I didn't shoot. Wait, did she actually not shoot? Was it like totally Kyria just being like blam from right over her shoulder? Or is she in denial? I mean, there's so many fun opportunities here. Come on, let's have some chaos. Remember, everyone's half deaf. They're firing guns in a closed room like this. The sound of the shots, instead of going off into the distance, will actually echo back around them and be like fucking deafening. So they're like their ears are in a ton of pain right now. Like I would not want to shoot a gun. I would not want to shoot a rifle inside this room. Like, even if you can fit like 7-8 people, like it's a large bedroom, you can fit it in there, it's probably relatively crowded. That would be incredibly painful. You would want hearing protection to even consider firing a gun in here comfortably. Like, you don't just wear hearing protection at a firing range because it looks cool. Oh man, that would be unpleasant. If nothing else, I'd be like, what the fuck's wrong with you firing a gun in an enclosed space like this? My ears are fucking killing me. Even if I didn't care about like Natsuki dying, but you know, ignoring the death part, that's still like a oof, that's gonna hurt. I told her to stop, she just jumped at me. Kraus, who'd seen his wife killed before his eyes, lost all traces of rationality in his expression. You know what? At least we're enjoying this tea party. This is fun. I was annoyed at the way they solved the fucking trial and immediately do the Taiwan thing in like 2 seconds, but this works out right. This is a nice reward for reading through the tea party. All right. He was so furious, if he'd knocked Hideyoshi aside and jumped at Eva, he might have torn her throat out. Wait, he ran at her with a gun and was gonna tear her throat out with his bare hands. What is he doing with his hands? Why'd you kill her? Eva! That's how Eva goes, man. It was an accident. I honestly think Eva probably did that on purpose, but that's not really important. Calm down, Kraus-Nisa. Another explosion rang out. Hideyoshi's face was covered with blood. The two of them had been fighting over the gun Kraus held, trying to push it away from themselves, and when the barrel turned to point across his chin, the sneering, formless Reaper, master of the Room of Gold, had swung his scythe once more. A line of blood trickled from Kraus' mouth. Hideyoshi killed him too! Man, he's so sorry, I'm sure. The two fell down with Kraus' body on top of Hideyoshi. Letting out a cowardly cry, Hideyoshi backed away before Kraus' body could cover him. Oh dear. Oh my goodness. We killed we killed a third of our rivals. Oh, no way. I didn't do anything, of course. Kraus' finger got caught. Man, dude, a double kill from this couple? Yeah, really solid, honestly. Really solid teamwork, honestly. The best part is, like, at least, see, if it was like Rudolph and Kyria, I think they might be ruthless enough to do that too. Who would I consider not actually randomly murdering people? Shit, that's actually a little bit hard. I'd actually guess of all the couples here, I think Rosa and Kraus are the least likely to try shoot. Rosa, Kraus, and Nazi are the least likely to try shooting someone. I actually think that they'd be the least likely to shoot someone. Everyone else, I would actually believe that probably believe that Kyrie and Rudolph would consider shooting people, and I definitely know Ava would kill everyone for the gold. Like, that's not even a question. She's already done that. So, since Ava has no problems killing everyone for the gold, like the fact that that it's starting with them is kind of just like, oh yeah, okay, that's how it's going. But it's entertaining. All right. It's an accident. An accident, I tell you. You're gonna tell me about that. You're gonna tell me, what's that, chapter 4? You're gonna tell me that about episode 4? It was an accident. We just happened to murder everyone, one or two at a time. An accident. At all, an accident. Careful, she's gonna accidentally shoot you too, Rudolph. At the pair of them broke down sobbing and claiming it was all an accident, Rosa and the others were unable to say a thing. Dude, just shoot them before they both kill you. They're gonna claim it's an accident when Kyrie and Rudolph are dead, and then they're gonna claim it's an accident when Rosa's dead. This is getting pretty bad, guys. The witch also watched this scene, but said nothing and appeared to be completely disinterested. It wasn't our fault. You guys gonna seriously let Ava and Hideyoshi just kill everybody? Because they're gonna just do this again. It was an accident. You saw, right? Right? No. Rosa も見てたでしょ You saw, right, Rosa?
クラウス兄さんもナツヒ姉さんも感情的になって突っかかってくるから
Kraus and Natsuhi both let their emotions get a hold of them and charge at us?
さあね
Who knows?
わからないわ
I couldn't say either way.
バカローザ
Stupid Rosa! You saw, didn't you? You just murdered your brother's wife, Reva. Come on, get real.
そこで見てたんならわかるでしょ
You saw from right there, you must know.
ごめんなさい
Sorry.
偶然暴発したのかそれを装って殺したのか
I can't tell if it happened by
私にはわから
accident
ないの
or if you killed them and tried to make it look like one. Rosa, you.
あんたルドルフ君
Rudolph Kun.
あんたは見てたやろ
You saw.
わかるやろ
You knew what happened, right? I wonder how I would act without meta knowledge here. See, I can say with a reasonable degree of confidence that Ava would 100% shoot every single person in this room for if she thought she could get all the gold. And if this is the trigger she would use, I'd immediately shoot her. But what would I do if I didn't have this kind of meta knowledge? I guess if I was Rudolph, Rose, Kyrie. If I was Rudolph and Rosa, I would probably consider that Ava's incredibly ambitious, power-hungry, and ruthless. And I'd be very concerned that she did that intentionally, with the thought that she could kill everyone in the room, alongside Hideyoshi. Especially if they convince us that they're innocent, then grab their guns and shoot everyone else. That'd be my concern. I think I'd know that they were somewhere that I don't know if they'd kill, but having seen them, I wouldn't be so certain, but I also probably wouldn't be able to act on it very well. Because I think I'd probably be like a little bit shocked. Unable to like actually act on the thought that I should probably do something before they just up and shoot me.
No!
You know what happened, right? Right? Sorry, I agree with Rosa. We can't tell if it was an accident or intentional. Rosa and Rudolph's gazes looked cold and indifferent to Ava and her husband. What are we gonna do? They were shocked to death. Saying it was an accident won't convince anyone. You accidentally headshot someone. Yeah, okay. From like point blank range. Good stuff. An accident doesn't work. Saying it was self-defense works better. The forest? We'll say they went to the forest and went missing. That'll buy us some time. Don't get us off the hook, right? I mean, we have a bomb. We can blow up the whole island. The police will search the whole forest. We can blow up the whole island. Shooting someone, dropping the gun, and claiming it's an accident if it's intentional. It's not a good strategy. What do you mean it's not a good strategy? The strategy is really simple. You kill the people. You kill the people. You kill someone, claim it's an accident, drop the gun. You convince them that you're innocent because you believe your charisma is high enough to make them believe that. And they're like, oh, okay, it's an accident. Let's not do that anymore. Then they'll like turn to leave and you just shoot the rest of them. Like, you're just eliminating people so you don't have to fire at them later. If it was intentional, you're basically just, it's like basically like the it's like when you play a game. It's like when you're playing a game with someone and you basically make an action that looks really stupid. or like comes off dumb, but you're like, oh, like, I didn't know that I'm a new player, but you're actually not new, and you're doing that intentionally because you know for a fact that if someone thinks you're new, they're not gonna play as well. So you're like, so it's like, no way they're gonna believe you. At least they'll get you handcuffed. Maybe you don't know that, right? You don't know how well Ava thinks, how confident Ava is in her ability to convince people of something. But I'd say it's very, very possible to like play a few games, you could play like social deduction games and ask for confirmation of how things work, to like get more information from people if you want to. Because I've done that a few times. I don't even apply that I'm new. I just ask a question like I'm a new person. I don't even say that I'm new, and people will give you information that that would give you answers. If you're rich enough to hire good lawyers, it's a decent strategy. Yeah. All you need is money to hire good lawyers. Because I mean, you can like all they have to do is say like, I didn't actually want to shoot them. I was scared for my life. It was self-defense. Blah, and you're off the hook here. If you think someone runs at you, because you know what we have. It's like if they even believe that you moved in their direction, that's perfectly legitimate. Because you can go. She could have gone down here knowing the gold was here with the intention of egging them on to shoot them, and that would have counted as self-defense. Like she can come down here with a gun and be like, I'm gonna take all your gold and kill you, and if they run at you, you can claim self-defense. So like it's pretty vague right now these days. The other siblings are greedy, they'll probably testify against you. Probably. But it doesn't matter if the siblings testify against you. It doesn't really matter if the siblings testify against you. If they're like not positive, if they're not 100%, 50% positive, even if they're not positive that they run against you, you're probably okay. Like if you have a good enough lawyer, you're probably okay. It's disappointing as it is. You'd think it would be really obvious that they would go to jail, but I've been disappointed before. Why would those two go off into an uncultivated forest like this? It looks suspicious from the start. There's no way we'll get away with this. We'll be okay. If we hide the corpses here, no one will find them. If we play dumb it'll work, that's a dumb idea. You're gonna have to blow up the island. I don't think they have to blow up the island, but I think that's the conclusion they should reach. Or at least the conclusion the story's gonna tell them to reach. It won't. There's no way you fool the police. If the two of them disappeared during a family conference where we were arguing over the inheritance problem, the police won't just put it down as a case of missing persons. I just had an idea. Though Ava was scratching her head, overcome with emotion, her arms fell as though their strings had been cut. What did you think of? An accident. Oh, come on, Ava, be more cunning. We need to make it look like an accident. Idiot. What kind of accident? There's gunshot wounds on both corpses, right? Even if we burn them to make it look like they were caught in a fire, it'll be obvious they were killed by guns. A fire? Oh, that's not good enough. We need more. Something bigger. A much more massive accident. A massive accident. Ava slowly walked forward, tapped it, and spoke. An explosion accident. Just the sort of accident that'll leave no trace of their corpses. As she played with the switch that would cause an automatic explosion at midnight, Ava spun to look at the McCrae's expression on her face. It was truly a mad flash of inspiration. If they flip the switch to the right and wait for midnight, the 900 tons of explosives would wipe out the mansion without a trace. There wouldn't be anything left of the corpses. There certainly wouldn't be any way to tell that they had died by gunshot wounds before the explosion.
この島に戦争中の爆薬が未だに残ってるというのは紛れもない事実。
It's an unshakable fact this island's filled with explosives from the war. By coincidence, tomorrow night?
それが明日の夜、偶然何かの拍子に間違って爆発してしまうのよ。
Something will set off by chance, the whole thing will explode!
そう！これは事故。
Yes, it'll be an accident.
爆発事故！
An explosion accident! What do you say? What do you say?
絶対に警察にはわからない。
There's no way the police find out the truth.
これならごまかせる。
This way we can pull it off.
二人の死体をごまかせる。
We can hide the manner of their deaths. That's crazy.
バカな。
Shaking, Hideyoshi frantically searched for a counter-argument, hoping to shut down Ava's mad idea. But he couldn't find one. Still suspicious the island blowing after the discussion about the inheritance? No evidence left? There was no evidence left. If you recall, in NJ's timeline, Ava got away with all her money. And people thought she killed everyone somehow. But I mean, if everyone but they show up and it's like, oh, it's a disaster, some people died, like, who? Maybe it actually was a disaster because they have multiple mentions. It's more plausible the less people die and the inheritance problem. 0 people dying is the most plausible, and it's a sliding scale of sketchy as it goes up to everyone fucking dying except you. Yeah. Yeah, she got at least the 1 billion yen out. She might have gotten more. We don't know how much she got out. Possibly with some of the gold. He couldn't find one. If they blew everything up, the facts would all be muddled. They could make it look as though Crow said Natsuhi died in an explosion accident.
完璧だわ。
It's perfect.
完璧よ。
Just perfect.
兄さんたちが死んだのだって事故だもの。
After all, it was an accident. It wasn't an accident. They died anyway.
もう一つ事故が起こるだけの話だわ。
We're just changing the type of accident.
ねえ、そうでしょあんたたち。
Isn't that right?
筋書きは適当に考えるわ。
We can think of any story we want.
とにかく私たちはたまたま明日の夜隠し屋敷にいた。
By chance, the rest of us will happen to be in the hidden mansion tomorrow night.
そこで偶然爆発事故が起こって難を逃
When
れ
the
た。
explosion accident occurs, we'll be lucky enough to survive.
そういう筋書きにすればいいのよ。
The next question, how are you going to get to the hidden mansion? Except by this passage. Because presumably you don't want to bring all your kids and the the maid servants through this area.
何をどういう筋書きにするつもりよ。
What sort of story are you planning on? What sort of story? Ooh, we're gonna find out.
クラウス兄さんと夏日姉さんだけを残して残り全員が隠し屋敷に行ってい
What
て
kind of story would just explain how 2 of them alone remained here?
私たちだけが都合よく
While
難
the
を
rest of us
逃れる
conveniently went to the hidden
一
mansion and
体
managed
ど
to
ういう
escape.
筋書きよ。
And I can only imagine Beato just sitting, because she's still sitting in this room faceless. And she's mentally just faithful. I mean, she's like, I gave these fuckers $1 bajillion in gold and 2 of them are fucking dead already. Are you serious? Oh my goodness. How's it going? It's going great, dude. This is fantastic. We got to the, in this route, all the adults got to the treasure room. Nobody died. They get there. 5 minutes into discussion of what to do with the gold, Ava shoots Natsuhi. Just blows her brains out. It's great. And then Kraus is like, what the fuck's wrong with you? And gets into a fight with Hideyoshi. And Hideyoshi shoots him, blowing his brains out too. And they're like, it was an accident, guys, we swear. We didn't mean to just, like, start killing people. And they're discussing, now Ava's discussing how to blow up the island. It's great. She's like, if we just blow up the whole freaking island, we can get away with more money. You're like, alright. Interesting pitch.
それはこれから考えるって言ってるでしょバカローザ
So we're thinking up now, stupid
何で
Rosa.
もいいのよ口裏さえ合わせればどうにでもなるのよ
Doesn't matter what it is as long as we agree to it.
考えてるわよあんたたちも考えなさいよ
I'm thinking, you all think too.
誰か考えて
I would think of something. I got. Why not divide it equally? Listen, dividing it equally between 4 groups would make a lot of sense. But you know what's better than dividing equally between 4 people? Killing everyone else and getting 100% of it. Now you say there's some risk involved, but all of these people like taking risks. Lots of risks. Some of them are really bad at gambling. Calm down, Eva. I'll think about it. So will everyone else. We'll definitely think of something. It'll all work out. We'll share the burden. You won't have to carry it all yourself. Okay, it will. We'll think of a good excuse.
それはどんな言い訳なの
Sorry? What kind of excuse?
クラウス兄さんと夏日姉さんの2人だけを屋敷に残して私たちと子供たちとあと使用人のみんなも一緒に仲良く地下
We
道
take
を
the kids and all the
探
servants
検して
to go explore an underground passageway, leaving just the 2 of them
みんなで
behind.
隠し屋敷で夜を過ごすというどういう言い訳
The
な
rest of
の
us all decide to spend the night in the hidden mansion?
うまい言い訳があるわけもない
How could any excuse
めち
work?
ゃくちゃだわ
Insane.
そのめちゃくちゃを考えるのが私たちの仕事でしょ
And thinking up that insane thing's our job.
何を他人面してんのよ
Why are you acting like this has nothing to do with you?
あんたたちも考えてよ考えなさい
You
よ
think of something too.
姉さん
Nea-san,
質問するわ
let me ask you a
島
question.
を吹き飛ばしたらこの黄金はどうなるの
If you blow up this island, what happens to this gold?
それは
Well,
私たちはやっと200億の黄金を手に入れたのよ
we got our hands on 20 billion yen of
それを
gold.
みすみす吹き飛ばすつもり
And you want to blow it all
そ
away.
んなの運べばいいじゃない運べば
We can carry it away. Yeah, right.
爆発は明日の24時
The explosion will happen tomorrow at midnight.
丸々1日あるの
Yeah, a
よ
full day.
みんなで運べばなんとか
If we carry it together, we might. There is no way you carry 10. I know it's less than 10 tons now, but there's no way you carry 10 tons of solid gold in a full day. You're going to need a lot of help for that. Because that is what... that's what, like... it's like 5 people now, so it's like roughly 2 tons per person. By hand? I mean, even if you have a wheelbarrow, gold's still really freaking heavy. And I know they have a wheelbarrow because there's one around in the shed. And you probably don't have enough to carry like that much fucking gold in a short period of time. If we carry it together, we might.
10トンあるのよ
You realize there's 10 tons of it?
お米の袋を担ぐのもやっとの私たちが一体どの程度の量をたったの1
Just
日
how
で
much do you think our small group can
島
carry?
の反対側まで通じる長い地下道を徒歩で往復して運ぶって
Back
いう
and
のよ
forth across this long underground passage that goes all the way across the island?
それこそむちゃくちゃだ
You're
わ
being absurd.
これ
Here,
カードがあるじゃない
you have this card, right?
さっきあの女から受け取った10億円の入ったカードが
The card worth 1 billion yen the one woman gave us?
黄金は運べるだけ運べばいい
We'll just carry as much gold as we can.
それを別にしても私たちには10億円が
We
入
have
っ
a
た
card
カ
with
ー
1 billion
ド
yen
が
on top of it.
3等分しても分け前は最
If we
低
split it
3
3
億
ways, we have more than 300 million each. But what is their incentive not to turn you in? That's the real question. You're like, let's sacrifice millions of dollars, and they're like, why would we do this for you? Like, I don't see anyone having an incentive to cover for Rosa, who to their perspective may have just murdered 2 people.
私たちの誰もがそれで十分に金策をしのげるじゃない
Could be enough for all our purposes.
Yeah.
Because we're family. Yeah, it's just, well, I mean, because we're family. Okay, I'm just gonna murder you too. Like, yeah, I don't like it. You don't like what?
何がよ
ここにこうして200億円の山があるのに
We have 20 billion yen right here. A
どうして
mountain's
3億
worth.
ポッチで納得しなきゃいけないのよ
Why are we satisfied with 300 million yen each to cover up you shooting someone? Rosa? You gonna shoot me too?
さ
Ava's face twisted in anguish and was whipped by Rose's look of cold unconcern.
クラウス兄さんたちの取り分を除いたとしても、
If we gave Kraus his
私
share,
たちの取り分は
we'd have
50億。
each have a share of 5
カード
billion.
の3億を抜いて、残りは47億。
Subtract 300 million from the card, the rest of my share is 4.7 billion.
それを姉さんが私に払えるって言うなら、この黄金の山は好きにしてくれていいわ。
If you agree to pay that much to me, then you can do whatever you want with this mountain of gold.
あんた
What do you think you're
何を
saying?
シャーシャーと
I think that's a fair assessment, actually. I mean, a pretty risky game considering she just murdered 2 people. I'm considering the power couple just murdered 2 people. It's a pretty risky game to play, but you can say, all right, well, you want to blow up the whole island and everything on it? Yeah, pay me the equivalent in value that I'd get from this gold that you're trying to destroy that's mine. I mean, I'm willing to take an equivalent value. That seems fair. As far as compensation goes, that's fair. What do you think you're
協
saying?
力する気はないの
You don't intend to cooperate? Are you gonna shoot me too?
姉さん、
Nei-san?
頭を冷静にして聞いて
Calm
ちょ
down
う
and
だい。
listen.
私も姉さんも最も多くのお金を手に入れられる方法を提案
This
するわ。
plan. Let's both of us leave with the maximum amount of money.
何よ
素直に警察に取っ組み合いの末銃が暴発したと言って自首してほしいの。
I want you to go to the police and turn yourself in admitting that you got into a scuffle and the gun went off.
バカ言ってんじゃないわよ。私は嫌よ警察なんて。
I'm not going to the police.
さすがに事件がここで起こったとは言いたくないわ
Of
ね。
course, we don't want to say that the crime
警
happened
察
here.
に黄金が見つかっちゃう。
The police would find the gold.
バラ庭園なんてどう？
How about the rose garden?
雨が降っているから現場検証の時矛盾が発見されなくていいかもしれない。
It's pouring rain right now. The police probably won't find any contradictions at the crime scene.
どういう経緯で雨のバラ庭園で銃を持った兄さんたちと取っ組み合いになったかについて
And I'll
は
let you find an
そ
excuse
れ
for
こ
why
そ
you and
姉さんに言い
Nissan
訳を考えてもらうわ。
started fighting while you were holding guns in the rainy rose
自
garden.
分たちの罪を隠したいからって私たちとその取り分まで巻き込まないで。
Please don't try to get us and our shares involved because you want to hide your own crime.
ローザ
Is Ava gonna dive for her gun now? What are we doing?
いいじゃない。
It's not so bad, right?
別に何十年も食らい込むわけじゃない。
After all, it's not like they'll keep you in jail for several
だって
decades.
事故なんでしょ。ほんの数年で出
It's
てこ
an
られ
accident,
るわよ
right? You'll be able to get out after a few years.
罪を償って綺麗になって戻ってきたら姉さんの分の黄金50億を好きにすればいい。
When you've paid for your sins and come back, you can do whatever you want with your 5 billion.
嫌よ絶対に
I'd
嫌よ
never do that.
私たちが捕まったらどうなるのよ
What would happen if we were arrested? Bribe the police with $1 billion in gold. That's actually a good plan. Give the police 1 billion yen and be like, how's this? 1 billion yen and go be like, I'll give you this gold to not be. I mean, you can probably find a police officer who's corrupt like that. For that much money, you can turn some heads. Sacrifice a decent portion of your earnings to get away with it. Although, if you don't have those connections, you might be in a bad spot. Who was the guy who had connections again? Oh, you shot him. Damn. The one guy with connections and he's dead.
うちの人の会社はどうなるのよ
What would happen to my husband's company if we were arrested? I don't know.
別にいいじゃない会社なんて。
Who cares about the company?
50億もあるんだから。もう働くのもバカバカしいんじゃない？
With 5 billion yen, working any longer would just be a waste of time, right? Like, who cares about the company? Rosa had never intended to go along with Ava's proposal. If it was a question of maximizing each person's portion, no one had anything to gain from an explosion accident. An explosion would conceal Kraus and Natsuhi's deaths, and it would serve no further purpose. From Rosa's perspective, the ideal outcome would be for them to confess to their crimes without any unnecessary tricks. All she wanted to do was change the crime scene from here to a different place. However, Ava didn't want to be arrested. She didn't like having her share shrink from 5 billion to 300 million, but even that was more than enough to cover the amount she had been trying to wring out of Kraus in the first place. She wanted to hide what happened here, even if it meant blowing away 4.7 billion. What would happen if they were arrested? The life, the company, the trust Ava would work so hard to build? Ava, you'd have 5 billion yen. Like, I honestly think Rose is offering you a really good deal here. Now, is it the best result you could possibly want? Probably not, but considering you dropped your gun, it's probably reasonable. It's like, you can keep your gold, and you take the fall for this murder you committed. You can even, like, claim self-defense. You can do whatever you want. Just don't admit the gold's real. You know, because you want to keep the... If you want to keep the gold, don't admit the gold's real. Admit you killed them for whatever reason. And you're set. But of course, Ava's all about that pride, so she's not going to accept that. But it's actually, like, a really good deal. It's like, because they can shoot you, right? Like, I don't know who has the guns, because Rudolph and Rosa and Kyria's sprites don't have guns right now, so we don't know who has guns. But, like, presumably she discarded her guns, so she's arguing from a position of, I can blow up the island to escape murder, and it's like, you know the other two people could just shoot you, right? Like, she's trying to convince them to go along with her plan. If they're offering a counter offer, she needs a good argument that's going to make it worth it. More like, they won't be able to hide the gold or something like that. GSSRs were alright. You people got some good results. Yeah. These were things that couldn't be brought back with money. The company, the trust Ava worked to build. She wanted to hide Kraus and Natsuhi's deaths, even if it meant blowing up all 4.7 billion yen worth of her gold. But from Rosa's perspective, that was irrational nonsense. Rosa. Oh! They let Ava get her gun again? And no one was like, oh, this person who just murdered someone's gonna murder again? Oh my goodness, this is so good. They're so bad. What do you think you're doing with that gun, Nea-san? Gonna shoot me now too? Gonna have me die in the explosion too? That'll make finding an excuse harder. These might be semi-auto. These are... What, are these single shot? I don't think these are single shot rifles. They might have a couple shots in them. Also, there's 4 guns and only 2 have been fired. Are these double action? Ooh, they might be 2 shots each. If they're the ones we had before, they're lever action. They're lever action, but are they fed by clip? Back. It'll make it harder to explain away the other 2 deaths as accidents too. She's gonna kill everyone, don't worry about it. I mean, 3 whole deaths means it'd be quite a large-scale crime. It'd probably get you the death penalty. Or life in prison, if you're lucky. Even in the best case, you'll probably be put away for more than a decade, right? Turn yourself in. If you do, this will be no more than a pair of unfortunate accidents. Of course, your jail term won't be too terrible either. Don't worry about George. We'll take good care of him. We'll even make sure your entire share of 5 billion yen's waiting for you when you get back. Ava ground her teeth and glared. Then Rosa knew... The Rosa she knew should have been shaking and obeying her commands, and yet Rosa wasn't scared. Her blank expression, no, that faint smile, was the one that Ava had never seen before. Put the gun down, Nea-san. You wouldn't trust the words spewing from Rosa's mouth? Honestly, I believe Rosa more than I believe Ava, because I already know Ava would gleefully kill everyone and just kill 2 people. Rosa smells weakness. True, true. Put the gun down. Once you calm down, you'll see my plan's the best one. Jail isn't so bad, right? Think of it as a financial strategy. Even if they put you in for 10 years, there's 5 billion waiting for you when you get out. That's like working for a 500 million yen salary, right?
そう思えばお勤めも楽しくなるんじゃない？
If you think of it that way, won't you enjoy your job more?
嘘だわ。
Liar.
あんたはその間に私たちの取り分も取って逃
Just
げ
want
る
to
気
steal
よ。
my share away while I'm in here. I don't know why you're trying to propose this, Rosa. You know Ava's fucking paranoid. She's the one who is trying to almost kill everyone here, right? Like, she's the one who's paranoid about the witch lying about the direction of the bomb.
あんたの男がそうしたようにね。
The man, your man did to you? Hmm.
うちの人のことは関係ないでしょ。
Okay.
私は逃げないわよ。お金を持ち逃げなんて絶
I
対に。
won't run away. I'd never run away with someone's money.
絶対にしないわよ。
I'd never do it. Rosa's once frigid face was filled with rage. The two howling people pointed their guns at each other, shouting insults. You could smell the gold room's reaper slinking closer. The smell of gunpowder, the explosive smell of death, filled the room. I mean, all Ava does is antagonize people, so I'm not surprised. Alright, who's dead? Drip. A bubble of blood dripped from Rosa's mouth. Okay, she's killed another person. Then she fell over lifelessly like a mannequin someone pushed over. Okay, did Rosa shoot, or did, like, Kyrie just cap her and say we're taking over here?
Hey.
Ava?
Ava!
Okay, Ava's killed 2 people now. Is nobody gonna be like, this chick is trying to kill everybody. Stop her. It wasn't me. I swear I didn't pull the trigger.
本当に引き金を引いてないのに。
Didn't she just swear that about the previous time she shot someone, Natsuhi? Let's see, is it Rudolph's time to interject? Because Rudolph's been really silent. Ah, there we go! Kyrie! I was like, who is it?
エヴァ姉さんの銃はさっき夏日さんを撃った時弾が空になったでしょ。
The round in the chamber of your gun was spent when you fired at Natsuhi-san,
再装
right?
填してないんだからどう引き金を引いてもその銃では人は殺
You
せない。
never reloaded, so even if you pull the trigger, that gun won't kill
安
anyone.
心して。
Have no fear. As Kyrie said this, she maneuvered the lever action with a practiced hand, and a smoke-smelling shell casing was ejected. It hit the floor with a small metallic sound. That tiny sound had a disturbing ring to it.
ローザさんの見込みは少し甘いわ。
Rosa-san's analysis was a little
無
naive.
刻印のこれだけ大量のインゴットを換金するの
He
だ
has no
って
idea how difficult it would
どれ
be
だ
to
け大
exchange
変
this
か
many
まるで分かってないわ。
unmarked ingots for money.
見せ金に使っただけで後ろ宮家黄金伝説なんてのができちまうほど親父の時にだって
Kyrie did just
大きな
reload and
噂
no
に
one
なった
stopped her. I was waiting for this. I was like, did Kyrie and Rudolph finally show up? Like, they've been so quiet. You know they're gonna step in when something gets tense and there's an opportunity. So back in Dad's day, even just showing this gold to get funding was enough to create the massive rumor called the Ashirmiya Legend of the Gold.
無理さ換金なんて
Exchanging this for cash is
換
impossible.
金できねえ黄金の山なんてクソの山と同じだぜ
A pile of gold you can't use is no better than a pile of crap.
10トンもの黄金が水面下で換金されていて次期当主夫婦が開始。
10 tons of gold were exchanged for cash on the black market, and the successor and his wife died mysterious deaths.
これで目立つなという方が無理な話だわ。
Expecting that to go unnoticed is what's really unbelievable.
警察沙汰にしない方がいい。
We don't want the police
この
involved.
島を吹き飛ばして証拠隠滅。
We'll blow up the island and destroy all the
イ
evidence.
ンゴットに未練があるなら持てる分だけどうぞご勝手に。
If it's tough parting with the gold, feel free to grab as much as you can
10
hold.
億のキャッシュカードだけで見返りは十分。
The billion yen on the cash card is more than enough.
つまり
In other words,
エヴァ姉さんが正しいのよ。
Ava's Nai-san was right. Wait,
嬉しいわ。
isn't Kyrie Kyrie's family literally Yakuza? Like, if there's anyone on the planet who could turn gold into cash on the black market, even at a shitty rate, very slowly, it's probably Kyrie if she really wanted to. Like of all the people who could do that, like, how does she know? They're like, the story is telling, like, no one else has the connections but Kraus. And I'm like, well, Genji does. And I'm like, now that I think about it, I'm like, doesn't Kyrie have those connections too? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, she hates her family. She hates her fucking family, right? But, like, if she goes to them and it's like, look, I know we're not friends. How do you feel about splitting a fuck ton of gold 50-50? It's like, how would you feel about getting some of that Ashirami or legendary gold? We'll split it 50-50. Okay? 50-50 on 10 tons of gold. Like, we can do this slowly. That way, you know, no one's books get messed up too badly. Just some small income every year. We all win. You take half, you know, how much you want for a bar? Okay, that's a lot. Well, you know what? You get half anyway, so that's fair. All right. Yeah. I'm glad. I mean, like, of all the people who could do that, like, I think Curie could do that, but I think covering the crimes is pretty hard, so... They'd probably backstab at this point, the Sumideras? Probably. I'm glad. It looks like we're on the same page. If the police get involved, who knows what might happen. It's the same with cashing in the gold. I'm sure that would have tripped us up somewhere. We had no choice. The 1 billion that woman over there exchanged for cash is the only money we'll be able to get our hands on. And splitting that billion. It's more than enough for what we need. On top of that, now that Rose is dead. On top of that, now that Rose is dead, our shares have increased even more. We each leave the island with 500 million. Exactly. As long as we don't let our greedy desire to cash in the gold control us, we can pretend everything that occurred on this island never happened. And we have a way to do that right here. By this point, neither death from accidental discharge nor shooting murders meant anything on this island. Everything would be erased equally by the explosion accident. No matter what happened between now and midnight the next day, everything would be rewritten. I mean, the easy solution for this, I don't know why they want to like hide in Kuadorian when they could just leave the island. They could leave the island like when they would normally leave, without they're not taking the gold, right? Why would you hide in Kuadorian and claim you're there instead of just leaving on your assigned day the second the tsunami stopped? And like, well, I guess that would be a little bit sketchy. It might be, I don't know. Do you think it would be sketchier if you left the island and then fucking the entire island somehow exploded? Or like, sketchier if you were just on the island at like in a hidden island base that's like the perfect distance away from it. Because like it's pretty hard to have your entire have like 2 entire families at Kuadorian. Might be better if you're trying to get everyone off the island and not just like yourself or 1 or 2 people. Could be like, if we're trying to get like if we're trying to get like 3/4 of people off the island, you might as well just say like, oh yeah, we're leaving, and then boom, 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 tick, 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 boom, it blows. To have like everyone leave normally and then it explodes. And be like, oh, it must have been some detritus that triggered the ancient explosions or some shit at midnight. Like some settling debris from the tsunami caused this stuff to explode. Would be better than saying, ah yes, all the servants and 2 families were hiding in Kuadorian randomly, which seems really suspicious. Then again, she was known to be randomly at Kuadorian and was really suspicious and not arrested, so maybe you can just go to Kuadorian and be safe? That's not really important. Yeah, exactly. With just Krause and Natsuhi dead, it would have been less sus to blow it up. They live there, right? I mean, find an excuse to take Jessica on a trip. Genji and Kumasawa are old, so they can die in the last. Fuck it. Dude, like, you don't even need to take Jessica. Why, like, you don't need to take Jessica. You just accept her as a casualty and be like, well, I killed her, but yeah, I got away with it. It would cause suspicion among the rest of the 18s. They tell the police. Yes, and what are they going to tell the police? That these people carted 900 tons of explosives under the fucking... These guys mined out and planted 900 tons of explosives, leveling like a square kilometer of land? Yeah, they totally did that on their latest boat trip. Like, it's super suspicious to, like, say that they were, like, carting it there. It's more likely that it was exploding. I assume they've called it child murder. I mean, they did just shoot. She did just shoot not 1, but 2 of her siblings in the face. I'm sure she doesn't give a flying fuck if she kills her cousin. Or sorry, niece or nephew. Like, why the fuck would Eva care? She literally, she was well, she made a thing, but she totally killed at least one of her cousins, and so did the other one. Like, 2 of these people have just, like, killed people in cold blood, so I don't really think they have any qualms about killing a niece or nephew. We're assuming it's intentional. I'm pretty sure Kyrie's was intentional. And I'm pretty sure that Ava would intentionally shoot someone any day. If she thought she could get more money, I'm pretty sure she'd shoot someone. Even if she did that in another fragment, I'm just saying, she's the paranoid one who's causing all the problems. They were kind of doing okay until she started screaming about how the bomb was gonna actually be on and kill everyone. Like, she's paranoid enough to take action and try to do stuff. So it's reasonable to think a shooter. Reasonable to think she's the shooter. And did it intentionally. As you also don't, you know, accidentally headshot someone. If the gun goes off and, like, clips someone and you're like, wow, that's scary, but, like, ah, yes, my gun that I was pointing directly at someone's head accidentally fired is, like, a pretty lame excuse. Like, ah, yes, the gun just randomly happened to be pointing in her direction and headshot her, and she was the person I was arguing with. But she didn't say that. She said, oh, like, I didn't mean to shoot. She was charging me, and, like, that doesn't even follow. You, like, panic because you thought you were going to die from an unarmed woman charging you. It's a bad argument, but anyway, it's pretty obvious that she was intentionally doing it, but it's less obvious whether or not she'd go to jail for it, which she probably wouldn't. No matter what happened between now and midnight the next day, everything would be ruined. That's true. They have been pointing guns at each other all the time in the previous games, and nobody's gotten shot unless it was intentional. Not a single person got shot on screen that was unintentional in the previous games. Alright, no matter what happened between now and midnight the next day, everything would be rewritten. Yeah, everything erased by the explosion. You told me to turn myself in? Stupid Rosa. You weren't satisfied with 300 million? This is what you get for being too greedy. You brought this upon yourself. Kirie-san, there was no need to shoot her, right? Even Rosa-san would have figured it out if you just told her. But I did need to shoot her. After all, Rosa's the only one who didn't fire their gun. What does that matter? Blam?
あなたたちの足元に落ちているクラウス兄さんの銃とエヴァ姉さんの銃。
The guns at your feet are Kraus Nissan's and Eva
どちら
Nissan's.
も発砲済みだわ。
Both of those have been
で
fired.
もローザさんの銃は引き金を引くだけで弾が撃ててしまう。
But Rosa's gun can shoot if you just pull the trigger.
レバーアクションは慣れないとリロード難しいのよ。
It's hard to reload these if you aren't used to a lever action.
素人じゃなかなかできないわ。
An amateur would have some trouble pulling it off.
キリエさん。
Kirie-san, what are you talking about? I mean,
何の話？
Rudolph hasn't said a word this whole time. Just saying. They finally realized what Kyrie meant. Rosa had the only gun that could still fire, so I shot her first. Oh, how foolish we were. Why didn't we realize it sooner? Even though we knew there's a mechanism for erasing everything that happens on this island. Eva and Hideyoshi hurried to pick up the guns that lay at their feet. At the same time, fire spat from Kyrie's gun once more. Hideyoshi let out a short scream, clutched his chest, and fell face down. Dear. What is this? Eva fiddled with the lever action, trying to imitate something she vaguely remembered from a Western movie. But something seemed to be caught, and the still open lever didn't budge.
ね。
See?
結構難しいでしょ。
It's pretty hard. I mean, like, I'm not sure if you're supposed to feel bad for Eva here. I don't think so. My impression is that I don't feel bad because Eva started it by shooting people. So, if you want to introduce shooting people as a method to get more of the gold, okay, someone else doing the same is at that point fair game. Kyrie finished reloading with a fluid motion. That way, she held it was as innocent and sure as a kid playing with a squirt gun. Blammo! R.I.P. With another heartless cry of gunfire, the puppet called Eva slumped down to the floor as though its strings had been cut.
ルドルフさん、
Rudolph-san?
10億のカード。
The billion yen card?
おう。
Sure. The cash card with a billion yen, which Ava just grabbed from the witch. That alone was worth more than enough. The 20 billion yen pile of gold skewed everyone's sense of value. Just a few million yen's enough for people to kill over. This was a billion yen.
ローザさん、
Rosa
あんた
san.
のさっきのあれ、名
Those are some
言よ。
famous last words there.
3億ポッチ
Just 300
あ
million?
んた、欲をかきすぎだわ。
You were too greedy.
違いねえ
No kidding.
な。お、ラッキーだぜ。
Lucky
死
me.
体をまさぐらずに済む。
I don't have to fish through a corpse. As Rudolph walked up to Ava's body, he found the card lying beside it and picked it up. They did get the number, right?
この薄っぺらいの1枚で10
So
億
this
か。
card's a billion yen?
もう会社もバカらしいぜ。
Sticking with the company would be a waste of
畳
time.
んじまって余生はのんびり南国で過ごすか。
So, do we close up shop and spend the rest of our lives in a southern country?
どうせすぐ飽きるわよ。
I'm sure you'd get bored
それ
right
に
away.
私、トラブルで苦悩したり、それを乗り越えて無邪気に喜んだりしてるあなたが
I like
好き
seeing
な
you
の
get all worried about some problem and leap around like a little kid when you finally overcome it.
言うね。
You sure you do.
ありがとう、黄金の魔女さん。
Thank you, Miss Golden Witch.
この10億は私とルドルフさんで有効に使わせてもらうわ。
Rudolph-san and I will make good use of this billion.
クラウス兄さんはあんたを紳士的に扱うと約束したわ。
Krasny-san promised to treat you in a gentlemanly fashion.
でも私はそんな約束をしていない。
I've made no such promise. He pulled the trigger without a trace of mercy, and when the ringing of the gunfire died down, blood trickled from the witch's mouth and she fell over onto the bed. Once again, Kyrie ejected the used shell casing. The four metal sounds of used shells hitting the floor seemed to symbolize the fact that Rudolph and his wife now possessed all shares of the gold.
本当に頭の回転の鈍い奴らだわ。
All of them were really slow-witted, and perhaps they were. But I think we're gonna have to find out just how Kyrie gets away with this or what happens next time.